Welcome, everybody. We are here standing live and proud within Elo Hell Esports. I'm glad to see you joining in for GitGud NA Tournament as we are here with Forefront Esports and the Guardian Grace. Two teams right now hoping to make it further as right now we lie ourselves within the playoffs. So a lot of uncertainty, a lot of hopes and dreams. A lot of them are going to be falling tonight, especially within this tier as we're looking at some good high tier gameplay in the advanced division. I'm username_Intel, making fun of Joe Razor. Thank you, Joe Razor. How are you doing, my little color caster?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. I'm very excited. First match of the playoffs here. In GGNA, of course, the weekend where playoffs start, and like you said, starting in intermediate. And yeah, this is definitely very excited to see what Forefront and Guardians can bring. Both teams have had a pretty good season overall. I mean, of course, they're in the playoffs. Guardians went 5-3, while you saw Forefront went 6-2. So both teams doing pretty well, but Forefront have a small record advantage between they get the first map pick.
It is going to be very interesting as we kind of move on, especially with this map pick, Lijiang Tower. Normally, the format of what we do when it comes to these teams, especially when it was during the normal season, is we went over kind of their win record, information that we had on the players, and things of those sorts. But I don't know how much win records really matter. I think this is where teams will finally stop trolling and kind of go the hardest they can. Because I think we can both agree we've seen teams go inside these series, sometimes entering in like 3-7, like not literally like that, but you get the idea of it. And yet they somehow come out on top more often than not.
Yeah, definitely. There 100% is some upset potential. Um,
Yeah, I'd have to say my biggest example would be like the inaugural season of Overwatch League, where like London Spitfire spent their entire season trolling and throwing, and then the moment that they hit
well,
playoffs, they just started popping off, right? And they won the inaugural season. That's the only championship they've ever gotten, and I feel like we have an opportunity not only for Forefront Esports, but for Grace to be able to kind of make those openings. And what do you think might kind of unlock those keys, especially on Lijiang Tower?
I'm not too sure, to be honest, right? Um, I think it depends what type of Forefront we see today. If they try to rely more on their individual and mechanical skill, which they definitely have, I think you're gonna really look to Guardians to try to win out the game based on more team-oriented comps and play styles. But if you see Forefront come out as a very team-focused play style, I think you may have to see. I don't know if Guardians will be able to match that. And if they're not able to, I think you might have to rely on some big individual plays from Guardians.
It's definitely a really good sentiment, especially because within the intermediate tier, I think the big difference that separates it from not from both rookie and advanced is the fact that it comes down to team play. They're not always quite coordinated, and that means there's a lot more opportunity for hero plays, as I like to call it. So I definitely can see them kind of brewing something up, especially on Lijiang Tower, where I think we can both agree it's a more than anything, it's less of a kind of main tank reliant team focus or kind of support, but rather the DPSs, especially on this first map.
Yeah, yeah, the Lijiang is definitely a map where you see a lot of different compositions pulled out here, and on this one where it's gonna be Night Market we're starting on, this is a very brawl heavy map, and then it's either brawl or ball comps, like most of the time. The brawl comps, you'll see like a Symmetra TP. They'll set up onto the point very quickly. Sometimes you'll see like a Ryan Orisa. I've seen Ryan Monkey get pulled out on this map. But a lot of the time it is kind of this Ryan Diva, kind of very similar to what Guardians Grace currently have. Instead of the Mei, though, you would normally, instead of the Doomfist, excuse me, you'd normally see a Symmetra. But on the other side, see some Hog and Ball.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we do see a Symmetra TB from Guardians Grace. They need to be careful of this Pharah, though, because if they're not careful, this Pharah could just eat them alive, and that is why this Symmetra TP has not come out yet, and that's why they're speeding to the point instead.
Hey, full respects, though this Sombra is looking for that hack, going to be canceled at every turn until they manage to find out Perry. Either way, Mickey is taking an insane load of damage from Reddit, being able to kind of burst down that shield. Eventually, they managed to take out Will, but Reddit's going to be picked out due to going too low onto the ground. However, with the trade out onto the Baptiste from Grace, this is not looking in their favor anymore. They do manage to get the Reds kind of evening things up, making things look a lot cleaner for the side of Esports, and now they can just immediately push in. That hack was absolutely optimal, and now, look at that, 86% to that EMP.
Yeah, a lot of big ults for Forefront Esports coming online pretty soon. We're going to see a comp swap, though, from Guardian's Grace. They're going to switch over to a They're going to mirror the Hog and Ball comp. They're essentially straight up mirroring it, but instead of a Sombra, excuse me, they're running the Cassidy. I mean, that is... Alright. You see a bit of an air duel going on here. Both keep getting a couple individual hits, but not quite enough to finish them off.
It's very much a mirror when it comes to these fights. Already, we're seeing that dive go on to Cassidy inside the backline. However, FTB, being anti, it has to try and retreat. Reddit is being able to build up his barrage insanely quick, and it looks like that hook is going to be taking out KFC, plus with this nano onto the side of Reddit. You're just being able to walk into that Cassidy with any fear in the world, and just pumping that damage. Now Mosquito wants to try and do anything onto the point, but you really can't 1v1 a Hog like that. Though this Red's getting canceled out, that's looking a bit more heartful, as Grace somehow are being able to kind of pull back this point, but they have not won this out. They are eventually getting the picks into the late fight, to the area to where Esports don't have much besides from a stall FTB, and the Hog are going to be able to kind of do as much as they can. The whole Hog being able to kind of help push everyone off the point, flying into the mines. Well, that's a little embarrassing, Tom, but at least they've got this capture right back when it hits to that 60%.
Yeah, a lot of big individual plays here from Guardian's Grace, especially Perry, who came up with like 3 kills there in the middle, but due to a lot of these late picks, you're just going to see Forefront walk straight on the point here, and Reddit with a big double kill.
Yep, now this is where we're already seeing some good picks come out. Grace managed to find the early 2, though the res does manage to hit Mosquito. This EMP coming out is going to be able to hit that Wrecking Ball, allowing him to be immediately taken down. Though Perry, using this Hog, is going to trade on the Roadhog, meaning that they're just going to walk forward. That res being able to just barely come out, even with the boot combined with the Valkyrie, means that they have so much sustain that they are just pushing forward with no real care in the world. Guardian Grace still having 3 ultimates left in their own bank compared to Forefront's 1.
Yeah, definitely. Forefront get pushed off the point here, and so Guardian's Grace are gonna have a decent amount of ultimates. Those 2 DPS ultimates and those mines are gonna be some big ones. Only really the barrage and the nano boost for the side of Forefront Esports. That may be enough to win it, however.
They're going to be looking to move with that barrage, catching out Reddit inside the sky. Although you leave yourself wide open to Mosquito to be able to take you out. Now someone in an even fight. The Graces are struggling. Though getting that hook onto the Mercy kind of stops the res midway through and helps solidify your victory into this fight. Though in last territory, we need to be seeing more come out of this, especially with the res going on to Mickey. The rest of the sides have to do as much as they can. FTB does place that mines inside the point, while the rest of the team is kind of stuck outside of it, so it is going to be harder for Grace to come out and leave themselves open to Reddit to get that too. Nugget may be gone from the fight, but comes back, finds Mickey just barely. Hey, it's what happens when you stagger yourself from trying to die. Now they save themselves more room to be able to play.
Yeah, if you told me we were gonna see intermediate teams play a ball and hog mirror on Night Market, I would have called you crazy. But that's the case here. And Perry, who's been a real standout, you can see. So the stats prove it. 7 final blows so far, only on this point, and he's looking to walk forward. Gets a good hook onto the opponent's Roadhog and an anti-nade, and they're gonna finish him off.
Hey, it's pretty nice. Taking out Nuggies is absolutely important. Though this visor is sort of being countered out until that high noon, it gets slept. And now they're going to have issues when it comes to stalling out the point. Luckily, that pick onto Pekin is going to matter a lot, though you let the Reds happen, meaning it's still going to be back to the 6v6 until we see Front 4 moving forward, taking out your kind of main tanks, and then Will just decides, I'm going to start playing the game man just to get the majority of your team. Though this whole Hog is going to be able to not only take out Perry and Will, it's going to be forcing the Wrecking Ball off the point. They can't touch without fear of dying. We are seeing some slowly return to the point as Thomas using that Valkyrie Valk maybe just trying to heal up. They are somewhat body blocking. Somebody has to touch. It's just barely going to be able to manage to hit it, though they are going to be struggling to kind of solidify their point onto it. Wrecking Ball just barely managing to bring back, but takes so much damage. They have no room to survive. Same with the Doomfist, who's just barely coming back. That barrage going down, managing to hit out the Lucia, but though leaving yourself open to the Roadhog to maybe hit with that anti, but the mind maybe stopping from entering inside. You have to use that nano to do as much as you can, plus the whole hog, but look at that, Mosquito's going to be able to take you out. You just don't have the support or kind of care in the world to be able to stay alive, and now Forefront Esports are going to take that first win.
Yeah, Forefront. They managed to close it out barely. I mean, as close as it could possibly be, 199. And when you look at what the fights Guardian Grace were winning, it was off of a lot of big individual plays, and I mean that's kind of what these comps ask for, right? Hog and Ball is not a comp that you see like top tier coordination win it out for you. You saw a lot of big plays from Perry on that Roadhog, and then even Mikkel, excuse me, was playing the Wrecking Ball, creating a lot of space there. But now we move on to Control Center, and we're just going to see Brawl for both sides. Different takes on it, though. Symmetra for both ends, but it's going to be a Junkrat for one, Cassidy for the other, and then a Zarya for the side of Guardian's Grace, and then a Sigma for Forefront.
Hey, it very much is kind of a drastic difference, though it does allow them to move forward. Having that shield, we already see Parry's not working with their tank. Mosquito is the one who's going to be caught out by Cassidy with those nice angles, though Cassidy not going to be one to live for much. Immortality just barely being able to save FPP until they just decided to press W with those bubbles and start taking you out. There's nothing worse than a high charge Zarya within your back line that's making you make those mistakes.
Yeah, you saw Forefront. When you run that Junkrat comp, you kind of want to take that fight inside a white room because of how much spam the Junk allows, but instead they tried to go into point, which gave some more space for Guardian's Grace to work with. But Forefront, they're going to move straight through the choke, so no choke hold available for Guardians.
They are going to still move through this tight corridor. It's going to be nice having that Junkrat just to make that space. They managed to find out Parry absolutely big. There's no Zarya going to be helping out. Now with this window built and the Immortality keeping them alive, they have the room to push forward until that Mei wall kind of splits them up for a tiny bit. They have to use the walls to kind of force out some weird area, though that Shatter breaks through, finds 3, and finds Mosquito. They're now pushing forward, being able to kind of have this split Cassidy room where they can kind of look for, I don't know what that meant, but look, that we are seeing Mickey go down dangerously low. That Shatter's going to be able to hit that shield, and now there's somewhat of a slow stagger, though this Riptire absolutely big, as it finds out Will now helps them grab, may be able to hit FCP, but they're perfectly fine behind their own shield, feeling fine. Now this sound barrier allowing them to move forward. The entirety of Grace are struggling to kind of work together, stay together, and more importantly, escape this fight.
Yeah, but they do manage to solo for quite a while here. The only ults they really committed late in that fight were the Graviton Surge. And look, they managed to keep the Sim TP up, so they're able to re-engage really quickly here, and they kind of have an ultimate advantage coming into this first fight.
More than anything, now we see this Graviton Surge come out on the counter side. Though Tom used that sound barrier, it's just not enough throughout the raw damage that's hitting them. The entirety of Guardian's Grace struggling just to be able to move through it, though that is a quick fight, meaning they don't have to worry about much. Their Symmetra still took a little bit too long to kind of die.
Yeah, a big thing though is they did manage to pick off the Zarya late, so your KFC's not going to have any ult charge, and that means a close hold, once again, is not available for Forefront, so Guardian's Grace, you're able to get past this initial choke, which can be quite a challenge. But that sound barrier, it just wasn't enough to sustain through kind of the Junkrat damage into that Graviton Surge. It's just so much damage to deal with, and they weren't able to.
They are going to be using this Riptide, though it gets broken, and they lose out on Mosquito. We do see Will using this teleporter to try and play around. That Shatter goes through the shield, just barely misses everything and such, but it doesn't even matter when they can just ignore everything else, move forward, use that wall to kind of split up that Blizzard LOS, and now they're going to solidify their fact that they can take control over the point.
Yeah, nicely done there. From the side of Guardian's Grace to pull off the win. And now you'll see them manage to get this close hold that Forefront were never able to establish here. One fight territory now for Guardians to win out this match.
It seems that they are just moving forward. They want to take this fight extremely early. That wall blocks them up for a tiny bit, but eventually they're going to be losing Reddit. Without that Junkrat, this is allowing the Graviton Surge to kind of split them up. And now really nothing more left for them to do on the side of Grace but move forward, using that wall to stop any type of staggers from escaping. Now, it's all up to the Lucio to try to touch, but you get melted down the moment that you're seen. It's a bit unfortunate losing out that Junkrat, and now the window stopping from even trying to enter into the point. Sure, your teleporter's there, but you can't do anything. Now Grace tying it up. Only one person could take Lijiang Tower, and we're going to have to see who brings it out.
Yeah, big plays from Guardian's Grace to close out that map as we have a pause here right at the end. Luckily, wasn't like in this really awkward spot. Happened after the end of the point. So Guardian's Grace are going to tie up Lijiang. They just stuck in fights for so long when they were losing, right? They never lost a fight that convincingly. They were always kind of sticking around until the very end. And that allowed them to kind of just accumulate a lot of percentage. And then you saw later, they managed to establish this super close hold of the defense there in that last kind of 30%. And that holding close like that on Lijiang, it's such a pain to try to break through that. And you saw why. Forefront not able to do so, and that gave Guardian's Grace the map. Or the point.
Yeah, I think kind of just bringing back with that aggression definitely worked in the favor of Grace. Though, on to the next point, I think we can both kind of have some sentiments to how this is going to work. I don't know if this is a fully aggressive map rather than more of just coordinated, which is why these competitions coming out are more focused on teamwork rather than just raw damage.
Yeah, definitely. I expect once again to probably see ball comps coming out here. You're gonna see it for both sides. Hog is the name of the game for Forefront. Pharmacy for both sides, but a big difference is a Sombra instead of the Soldier, and actually a Moira pick coming through from Guardian's Grace.
Ooh, it's a little bit of something that we've never seen, maybe a little bit of style difference, though the more of the fight is going to be focused onto these Pharas. Already the Soldier Mosquito is managing to poke them out, and it seems that Harry's kind of stuck out in the front line, getting hit and almost losing their mech, but FTP is going to be the first one taken out, just hacked and taken down. There's just nothing you can do against it, so you have to just kind of make a difference. Though the difference being, you're just kind of putting in this burst damage the moment that they start running inside your backline. They do find out KFC Nuggets and take control of the point while you're just split up, and you're really not getting anything out of this fight more than just of this chip poke damage. Perry even gets back inside their mech, so they're not even too worried.
Much better.
Yeah, definitely. So Guardian's Grace with a really nice first kind of engage here. They're just locking down this point super well, and you can see this Wrecking Ball of the Diva. They're going after targets, and this time they get caught out losing the Diva mech, but with the Moira here, they're able to sustain for a bit longer, trying to kind of build that mech back up and maybe even gain the Soldier.
Yeah, they're kind of collapsing onto Mosquito. The Mosquito has those legs and moves to just barely escape and allow Reddit to take care of everything else. That's a little bit embarrassing to let that Soldier live. Now the Far Mercy kind of looking like they want to go onto the point, but then immediately pushed out, especially because Reddit has that nano. You pump in so much damage, there is just nothing you can do. You can't even solve the point.
Yeah, definitely. As you see, Guardian's Grace, they get forced off. They have built a decent percentage in Ultimate, 50%. They're going to have both tank ults pretty soon, a Coalescence and a EMP, but kill there onto the Pharah, so has to kind of use the res on that. On the other side, though, Forefront, they have a decent ult bank of their own, both DPS ults, close to both tank ults, and they all have the Valkyrie.
Yeah, it seems they want to move in with that visor, though the DM is a little bit too late to be able to save how it will. They've lost 2 in this skirmish, but at least they managed to find out Mosquito, though the rest of their team are kind of peeling in on the side of Forefront. Brings back that Soldier 76, and Mickey has no room to escape. There's just so much going around that they aren't able to kind of move around, have that mobility, and now they're going to be struggling and coming up with a new plan, though that EMP has a lot of room for an opening.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you see that EMP catch like the Wrecking Ball and the Roadhog, that might just be 2 kills to start this off. And you can see a really quick engage though from Guardian.
They use his EMP. It really only hits the tanks, and the Valk is there just to sustain. Nuggie's is going to be out, but look at that. The mine's being placed onto the point. Will's taking this barrage directly to the face. Not going to be able to live that out. SCP may be hacked. The control is still onto the side of Forefront, even bringing back Nuggets, meaning they don't even care if their Wrecking Ball is gone. Although they do lose the capture at the point, that's an issue, because now this is more of a stall fight than anything for the side of Grays. They can go down dangerously low. The Far being flying high into the sky, eventually going to be hacked, dropping down to the ground, though Nuggets is able to get out too. They're going to be losing out their Farah. Now moving forward, it looks like the side of Grace are more than anything struggling just to be able to stay up with this poke. The barrage goes out, but nobody's sitting there to be able to get hit by it behind natural cover. This bomb is there. It's going to be able to almost find out Nuggets until they manage to shimmy their way over to the side and be able to be fine. Though we do see Mickey come back onto the point looking to stall. It's going to be meleeed and taken out. The rest of their side, Forefront, is going to be able to bring this back still. Once again, kind of in a close scenario.
Yeah, definitely, but Forefront still in this. I mean, this has been an incredibly close first map there. The hook comes through, but boosters are there for Perry to sustain for, keep himself alive. EMP is online, crucially, for Guardian's Grace. If you can see a good one, you may see them just run away with this, but Mikkel goes off the edge.
That's a little bit, no, massively gonna hurt, and especially with this visor coming out, you just get taken out, Will. Nothing you can do. Your Farah being hacked is gonna be healed out by Beeson, meaning that they're gonna be basically perfectly fine. The rest of the side of Guardians wanting to even use that visor. Well, Valkyrie's just not even enough as they're struggling to just move in. There is the Wrecking Ball who's trying their best just to do as much as they can, but has to walk into the mines just to be able to do anything. It's taken out, and eventually we're just gonna be seeing Forefront Esports take the victory onto Lijiang Tower.
Forefront taking their map selection. The favorites coming into this series are going to start off with a map win. Really nicely done by them. They just seem to have a bit more clutch potential in a lot of these situations. Guardians seem to kind of fumble in a lot of these super high pressure situations, and Forefront were able to keep a grip on it and perform when they needed to be able to pull off this map.
Man, I've got to say though, it was massively impressive just seeing how much they were able to kind of rely on one another to be able to bring it back if someone fell down. More than anything, especially from the supports, but I kind of want to take a break from that. Go immediately over to the Fars because they had a very intense fight when it came to these matches, but we're already seeing Reddit kind of show their talent as they're being able to not only double when it comes to eliminations, but get a little bit more damage in, and I've got to say that's fairly impressive.
Yeah, both pairs were fairly close, it felt, but Reddit just had a little more I guess you could say just his timing was a bit better. That's what I'm trying to say. He was able to find a lot of really nice timings a lot of the time to come and get those final blows, get a lot of damage onto those tanks. And you saw it a couple times there on that last map where you would see people who were half health or isolated, and then you would see Reddit dive in on them with his Mercy Pock and just kill two people. And while Wilma Fist was good, he just seemed to play more of a very static Pharah, while Reddit seemed to play more of a aggressive pop-off style of Pharah, and it worked fairly well there. And I think it'll work better if they continue to run Pharah in this series, because how close it's been. Just a small pop-off moment can be what you need to win the map.
You say more of a pop-off and aggressive. I just say a Pharah who has seen God and attempt to fight them, because we did not really see Forefront really take disengages, more of just heavy engages, which I like. I like to see that. But more than anything, I think Forefront's support line was very much the game changer. The most kind of best example that I can point out is the fact that they kept their Soldier 76 alive for much longer than I think we both truly expected, especially when they started putting resources, when Grace wanted to really take Forefront out, and then they just said no, and that was absolutely beautiful. I think that's something you really need to do. It allowed their DPS to stay alive, pump in that damage, and, well, they're looking a lot better. Though, I think more than anything, into our next map, looking better is the consistency that you need. It's going to be King's Row, more than what you want. Grace may have lost that initial brawl, so maybe they may have something when it comes to working out. I'm wondering, Mr. Joe Razor, do you feel more of the fundamentals are going to be working in this, or we may see some kind of different switch ups?
I think we'll see a lot of brawl. I think we will see a more traditional take on King's Row. Is definitely what I expect. I expect to see a lot of brawl comps from both sides, and if we see anything else, I expect it to be the ball comps, because both teams seem to really like the ball comps. So I expect to either see ball or kind of traditional brawl.
I gotta say, I don't really expect too much out of the ordinary either way. I think just traditional brawl has been looking nice for this entire year that I've seen. Every shatter, every bomb has been working to its affection. Though I wouldn't be too surprised to be seeing Grace run out when it comes to the Zarya. I think when it comes to getting this, furthering yourself into the playoff spot, being able to make a composition on the spot and play it to a good efficiency will work to Grace's as you move forward. And that's going to be really important as we kind of continue on, where teams will more than likely not run kind of traditional things.
Yeah, I definitely think that's well said there. If we don't see, if we do not see traditional brawl, I would definitely expect to see a very kind of. I don't know if I would expect to see a weird comp, or if it would be just kind of a non-traditional comp, if that makes sense. I don't know if we're going to see like a ball comp or an Orisa comp, or if we're going to see more ball hog, right? That's something I don't know, and I think we'll kind of get to figure out these teams' identities a bit more as the set goes on.
I definitely have to agree with you. I think Grace are kind of teasing a very precarious, if that's a good word, competition while forefront, walking out with what we know as the bread and butter of King's Row. Though I do like to see what Guardians are doing. I think Doomfist very much is underrated, especially because this map is so close quarters.
Yeah, definitely. Doomfist, a pick that doesn't get used too much, but I agree. I am a fan of it, as we already have a pause. This is great. Not even hopping into the game yet.
I think they saw what they were running on the side of Guardians and had to pause it. They just could not withstand the sheer brain usage that it takes to run a Doomfist. There's actually only one successful Doomfist player in the Overwatch League, and their name is Chipsa, all right? Just got to say that flat out, all right? Best Doomfist in the world, and you cannot disagree with me. That's why you saw them have to pause it. They're a little bit too intimidated. They're scared.
Objective A.
All right?
Yeah, they're scared.
Yeah, and now look, Joe, you don't even gotta worry. We're be seeing the Doomfist, Sigma, and Soldier 76 competitions that aren't very popular, though full front are making it show as to why, as they wall them off. FTB push forward, gets that 4K, and absolutely makes that play for a montage reel.
I mean, he should rename himself to MTD. 4K there to start this off. Nearly has a shatter already. Well, I mean, that is insanity there. As traditional as you can get with a brawl comp here from Forefront, they show why this has become the standard.
I definitely have to agree. Now with this segment moving forward, they managed to get a nice May wall out, though we see Grace being able to ignore it and manage to find out Reddit, but the Shatter's built fast enough to help kind of slow them down. It's not enough to take them out as the Doomfist goes out wanting to try and find out Cassidy, but it's just not enough to be able to escape and force the backs of Forefront to be shown and eventually be forced into a death scenario. Look at that. Grace is using this composition to its finest.
Yeah, definitely. As we are gonna see first one get capped up there. Guardians managed to rebound after losing that first fight super quickly, come back in, not using any ults as they did not have any, but you'll see Forefront try to hold kind of this middle part of the street space, but a good flux.
Yep, they're using that flux early. They want to find any picks. The immortality's not enough to keep you up as they just break it down, use this poke, and start slamming you. All of these resources being used, eventually even the high noon as they're struggling just to escape it. And to the forced out parry who gets frozen and gets that immortality just to be able to survive. Until the shatters opened up. You don't have FTP to shield it. They've rotated. And look at that. What a good way to use everything in your pocket to make a victory.
Yeah, definitely. Guardians starting to kind of move through the street space as Mikkel has respawned really nicely after losing that first fight and kind of getting wrecked. He's responded really nicely here with some great work. And they don't have too many ultimates, Guardians Grace do, but they have the window, but Blizzard and the Diva Bomb and the Ant Matrix from Forefront, it's going to be a lot.
Yep, they throw that shatter down in the bomb. Well, it only gets countered out by the immortality. It's still not enough to stop Will from diving into your backline and being punished. The entirety of Graces are being able to rotate that together, using their shields just to be able to feel fine until this Blizzard lands onto the ground. They want to try and charge and escape away from it, but it's not enough until Tron wants to be using this visor to make some form of a difference. It does a lot of damage. It helps kind of lower everyone into a stagger phase, and it just seems that the rest of Forefront don't have enough. FTP does want to come back, try to do anything, but you're a Reinhardt. You don't have that much survivability.
Yeah, definitely has. Forefront, they're going to give up second point here. So 4:40 left of the clock for Guardians Grace. As they will have your Flux coming in this fight, not really too much to stop it. It really only is that immortality field. So if that manages to get forced out, they're not going to have anything to answer back as Later does not yet have that sound barrier.
We see it lamb down and the 2K Noon. That sound barrier is a little late to be able to help your team. Already they're punching in, looking to just put in an insane amount of damage and hit that shatter just to kind of clean up any staggers. That was a quick respawn for the side of Forefront. They have nothing to sweat over.
I mean, they kind of do, right? Look how close this card is. They were up 2 in that fight. They still managed to lose it. Now they have to try to stall. They do manage to chunk down the Reinhardt of Guardian Streets, and with that sound barrier, they will manage to work their way back into the same, regain control of the cart, but it definitely was scary there for a bit as the KFC Nuggies going back over to the Roadhog.
Hey, I fully respect it. Now they're using that speed boost just to walk on to Psyker, take them out. Perry's looking a bit claustrophobic as they're stuck in the corner, sent back to the spawner room. At least they now have a chance to be able to hold this for over 3 minutes.
Yeah, they, it is a slightly more winnable situation here. As I expect to see a lot of, I expect to see a lot of aggression coming out here from Forefront, right? Yeah, you want to try to force the mistakes of the opponents your Roadhog can get work.
Yep, now look at this. They're already moving back into the fight. The window does force them to back up, and the wall, it's just a little bit too kind of claustrophobic for them to be able to move in, a little bit too scared. So now Grace, angered, uses that gravitic flux, slams down, uses the visor, though the shatter catches a couple of them out. They really aren't being able to follow up. Mickey's pick is by far the biggest one, as FTP is going to be able to retreat, get some healing, and still not make it out in the end. The damage from guarding Graces is just far too much for them to be able to try and live. Now the rest of them are going to be struggling to stay alive, try to just respawn. They do come back to the point using that Blizzard, but not being able to touch means that guarding Graces are going to be able to capture with 2 minutes and 33 seconds.
Yeah, Guardians Grace have managed to rebound really nicely. I mean, after that first fight, I was kind of scared. His Forefront looked really scary there, and I was worried that this comp from Guardians was going to have too many problems with it, but obviously did not, as they managed to capture up King's Row with a really nice time bank.
Yeah, I mean, what team scrims against a Doomfist? I don't really think that's very often on King's Row, more than anything. Possibly, you know, the Bastion composition, that's by far the only thing I truly expect teams to kind of play against. Rather than that, you know, we see the Doomfist come out, and it's playing against something that you're not used to. When you're too stuck onto a script like Forefront, you get exposed by those compositions.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely have to agree. Guardians Grace are going to pull out another twist here on the defensive side as it appears we have formed some ritualistic turret circle.
Listen. You don't need to worry about it, okay? All right. Halloween is coming up in just about 2 days or so, so it doesn't even matter. What does matter is how we're going to be seeing Forefront try to push forward. They're running out on very much an unconventional composition with double main tanks, that Monkey and Reinhardt. Hey, I've seen it before. They're running in, using that bubble. They're looking just to disperse, and they are pumping in an insane amount of damage. Though Grace is able to kind of take a breath, come back together, take out 2, and then move forward. The staggeredness is not helping them out, as we just see Tom fully take on that 1v1. I wonder what Forefront is kind of expecting.
I mean, both teams are running kind of non-traditional comps here, right? You see this, like, rig with a brawl, and then they also have the Torbjorn and the Soldier, so a really bunkery brawl comp. And then you're seeing double main tank with the with your like Lucio Moira, but then you also have a Genji and a Doomfist that's very, very interesting.
Look at this, already coming out. The Torbjorn is pumping in an insane amount of damage, and the Shatter's the one that helps them secure it. You just can't do much when FTP dies very early, and, well, you know, the rest of your team falls soon.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but I'm not feeling too good about this brawl this kind of double main tank look from Forefront. I think they're really just going to try to bank on some ultimates to win this fight. Of course, Genji ult's really powerful. It might struggle a bit due to the rally, but we'll see.
Look at that, already moving back out. That rally gives them so much sustain to be able to walk into FTP. Reddit may be able to take out Psyker, but they're still feeling pretty fine to be able to play through this, taking out this Moira, and eventually the Doomfist having used their ultimate just to be able to escape. These picks are now being more into the favor of the Esports, as they're now kind of taking these angles or finally being able to poke them out, though Perry being able to find out too means a lot. This blade is there. They've blocked the Gravitic Flux, but 2 has already been traded out. Guardian Graces are playing off staggers and Perry to be able to bring this out, and with this immortality, I can't believe it. A single Sigma truly being the main tank. It's such a difference right now, and they're being able to secure it. Though they have to back out because they get hit with that Shatter, it's just not in their favor as the respawns aren't there to be able to help them out. Luckily, they do force 2 ultimates out of Forefront Esports.
Perry single-handedly stalled for like 40 seconds and traded his ult for 2 ults, right? I mean, he killed 4 there, used the Flux, forced out the Dragon Blade, which is kind of Forefront's biggest ultimate. Shatter and then Coalescence were both forced to be committed due to his presence. And now we see a swap from a Soldier, and then they go back onto the Genji. So Forefront continuing the same composition, but there's going to be a hold here at the Archway from Guardian's Grace.
Yeah, I am more surprised by the continuation of this Gengu. I mean, but hey, I've seen weirder. Already the Monkey and Doomfist come out. They're using the Sound Barrier as their key to be able to push farther than they really need to. And it seems that the Monkey playing into that corner forces out not only the Small Core, but the Visor. They're saying, hey, get off my room. Stop pushing forward. You're so mean. And they are starting to get these bigs, but Grace is still in a 3v3 type of scenario. Though with Reddit being picked out by Perry, who's somehow getting so much value to build up these Gravitic Fluxes, it means that they at least can kind of bring it back a tiny bit until this immense amount of damage is coming back, the Monkey still being alive.
Yeah, definitely. And they are managing to win a fight. We might see something similar what Guardian's Grace has been able to do. As you see the Sigma stats on the screen, or you could. Perry has done a lot of work here on the Sigma so far. Not a very traditional pick, but has been working fairly well.
Fairly well, I think extremely well. They're already pushing this payload with only around 2 minutes and 30 seconds to be able to touch. Will's even forced to go onto the Doomfist. Goes out and punches Reddit directly in the face. Now with the Gravitic Flux catching out FTP, they're going to be struggling to stay up because Perry is walking into your face, hitting you with these Sigma balls.
Yeah, great stuff there. The Sigma balls, as you mentioned, doing a lot of work. And then Will as well is just doing so much there on the Doomfist. Kills 3 in that fight as Perry on the Sigma once again, like I mentioned, the stats on the screen, just so much great work there from him. Couple ults though from Forefront. They're gonna have a Shatter as well as this Coalescence. Somewhat close to the Nano Blade, but the Nano Blade, whew, the Dragon Blade, that's about 25% away.
Yeah, you're losing yourself. We see the Shatter come up,
Shatter.
managing to slam down and hit. As this Coalescence allows them to push, there's just nothing Guardians can do. They never expect it coming out of FTP the moment that Nuggies dives in.
Yep, definitely. So, Forefront managing to capture up the point. Their timing, so, is going to be worse than Guardians no matter what happens here. This would need to be a kind of really good attack. They would need to win both fights here if they want to have a comparable time data. The big thing, though, they need to make sure they can cap up with time. So they have a chance at winning.
Hey, that's why they use the blade. They're coming out. They're able to take out Perry, running right into the Doomfist. Not being able to find out much, but at least it creates that space for the rest of Forefront to feel that confidence, to use up that Primal and move in. Though the Doomfist is still being able to use their own ultimates to escape, they really have to kind of group up as a team if they want any chance to bring this back. It does look like they want to kind of move out with the Visor. Being able to take out FTP gives them a lot of room to pump in this damage. Nuggies not going to be able to escape, and the rest of the support line are just kind of hauling as much as they can.
Yeah, great work there. Guardians Grace answer back. The Dragon Blade did a lot of work, and they were looking pretty good to close out the map just off the back of that, but not able to do so. So Guardians Grace answer back in kind. They have the Shatter online as well. Look for an early one here.
It seems that they're already playing very far forward, though they are kind of being split up. That Shatter hits kind of more of the wall while FTP lands onto the support line and the rest of their team. Their Minute Flux comes out fast enough just to split them up, but Mickey doesn't have anything to be able to stay alive. Eventually, Perry gets picked, same with Psyker, as they're just not being able to find much. Mosquito is just kind of stuck onto you, sucking everything out. Not even going to be able to touch that point, capping with a minute and 20 seconds. This is still anyone's game.
Yeah, really good attack there from Forefront once again. They answer back after kind of struggling on first point. They managed to make this really, really strange double maintain comp work.
You know, I think it's more of just the unfamiliarity going up against it. I think a lot of teams, especially in intermediate division, they don't go against competitions like these more often than not. So this is so uncomfortable for them. They're struggling to get this adaptation on. And I think that shows to how much they really want to be able to kind of make themselves further into the playoff. Both of these teams have similar records, only a one map differential that kind of splits them up, so they're practically even, and they are using every trick in the book to try to get an advantage.
Yep, definitely. As we are seeing what could be, as we're nearing the conclusion here of this map, excuse me, as I'm very interested to see what Guardians Grace want to do here. And it looks like we now know on their defense. They're going to run an Echo. So same comp they ran on defense the first time, but this time with an Echo instead of your Torbjorn. The attack, though, once again, this really kind of uncommon double maintain comp.
Hey, it worked the first time, maybe the second time. Though it's been seen and they're already taking their angles, they want to play more onto the high ground. This gives Forefront the moment to just push down, and then Barry, who just touches the payload for a tiny second with the point, gets immediately punished. The rest of their team not even being able to do much. Mosquito being able to deflect the majority of the damage, struggling to kill off Cassidy, but still gets it. Wasn't even more of a fight, it was more of just a tickle scuffle.
Yeah, definitely. As this is really, really good stuff there from Forefront. The Genji and the Doomfist doing a lot of work there in that fight to clean up that situation. But Guardians Grace switching with Doomfist to their own. No ults here in this fight, so it's going to be once again a neutral.
Hey, on the bright side, Grace do have kind of less than 30 seconds to be able to stop them. That's all you really need. We already see Nuggets pushing out, using that bubble, managing to take out Tom. Nothing that you can do. With this Moira healing, they just have so much. Eventually, Mosquito's going to be traded out, and then eventually the group is kind of returning back to their own team. Reddit picked out. This is the worst type to lose your support or your team in general, as Nuggies is taking so much damage at 83%. We're seeing the flank onto FTP wanting to just try and do much, but they're eventually taken out. Guardian Graces managing to take that aggression in their favor. Stop this point as it reaches out. They really only need to cap first point if they want to kind of win this.
100%. Great stuff there from Guardians Grace there. They stopped Forefront Esports in their track. It's a very winnable map for them now. If you're Bebra, it took them 2 fights to win first, and then they won the fight the immediate fight on second point. And if they're able to replicate that, they will be taking this map here, tying us up. But Forefront, they know what they need to do to take this as well. It's definitely holdable for them.
What do they need to do? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm a bronze player. I gotta be real, you know. Guardian Grace, they've just been kind of confusing on my end. They sometimes push forward, sometimes they do the milli rock and don't do anything.
The milli rock.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ever been milli rocked before?
No.
Oh well, I promise you, one day I'll milli rock you. All right.
Is that a threat?
Oh, aggressively. Because I am so passionate about what's going to be happening
about
next.
milli rocking.
Yes. Look at this. It's already 2 minutes and 33 seconds. And they were teasing the Bastion, but we are going to be getting a quick pause as we kind of wait to see. And what do you think Grace have to do if they want any chance of kind of bringing it back? Obviously, playing better is an answer, but, you know, more kind of keen and analytical. You know, you've got a brain.
Do I?
I mean, I'd like to assume so. You know, you're the color caster. I'm just the guy who talks. You're the one people stay for.
Oh, okay. No, I'm the guy that's there when nobody's paying attention.
Yeah, you're quite literally in the pantry. I don't think anyone's paying attention.
Fair. Very fair.
But
yeah, it's gonna be a tough go of things here. I think for the defensive side, honestly, I think if they're gonna manage to win this, I think they might just want to run a very traditional brawl and try to pull off with that. I think that's might be their best bet.
You know, I can't say that I disagree. I think Guardian Grace's own aggression can work to their own benefit if they kind of lean into staying as a team and shutting down anyone who tries to break their own kind of bubble. But, you know, that's just me, the guy who continuously presses W's in their comp games. Don't you smile at me, Joe Razor, all right? I really don't want to hear it. Wait, no, listen, all right? I want your kind of opinion, especially because, you know, you're supposed to be the brains. They're running a lot of Doomfist today. A lot more Doomfist that I've seen in the entire season of GitGud NA. And maybe that's just because Cassidy isn't as strong to shut them down. Is Doomfist just getting, like, popular again? Is the Junkrat buffs just kind of made them more massive?
No.
No? Why?
No.
What do you mean?
The Doomfists honestly have not been doing too much work in a lot of these situations. The Doomfists have kind of done nothing for most fights, and it's like 1 out of every 8 fights they like kill 6 people, right? And so and also neither team wants to run the Mr. Cole Cassidy. And I think if they were more willing to run that, or even maybe run like a Symmetra, right?
Yeah.
Or a Sombra comp, I think the Doomfist would get a lot less work done. But neither team really wants to run either of those heroes, so.
And, you know, maybe it's just because of the tier. There's a lot more one-tricks within this tier than I've ever seen. But, you know, a bit more flexibility. I still want to kind of point out, I think Forefront Esports supports have been absolutely doing insane and as much as they can, especially in these fights. But it's gonna matter more than like before, as we see AC 130 walk out. They don't even take. They eventually take the top high ground, set up FTP. There's not much you can do against this. You don't even have a pure hit scan that can kind of take it out. You have hit scans, but close range more than anything. They're even stuck having to rotate out. The Doomfist hiding on top of this high ground, waiting for the pure opportunity to kind of focus out in the moment that they peak, they get blasted out by Tron's damage and the damage boost. It's just so much. What do you do? Nobody's really dying, but there's already 2 ticks taken out. The Lucio is split, crying for their mama as the Reinhardt walks out. The Doomfist wanting to do as much as he can. The D.Va walking out. They do manage to find out the Symmetra, but Reddit's taken, and the rest of them just push forward. There's just so much line of sight that they gain by existing as the Bastion.
Yeah, this is a really nice adaptation here, right? AC-130. It gets played occasionally, but normally just kind of doesn't work because teams know that it could be ran, but Forefront have not really been willing to run. If they had just run like a normal brawl comp, they probably don't win here, Guardians Greats, but they have noticed that Forefront have not been running traditional brawl. They know that they can get away with this, and you can see it works to great perfection there. And now they have essentially every ult except this Valkyrie come next fight, while Forefront, they're only going to have a Shatter and a Coalescence.
Yeah, they're popping out with the Gravitic Flux very early. Reddit wants to be able to put damage into the Bastion, but is having such an issue moving forward. With FTP being gone, this is now going to be a struggle for them to survive. Every ultimate coming out of the side of Guardian Graces. They really don't want to end this series because Tron is solidifying their ability to win this out. And now we have a tie as Guardians Grace, they managed to win King's Row.
Yeah, they will do it. As you can see, Jess, it was on your screen for just a second. The damage per 10, didn't play it for 10 minutes. He played for approximately, like, maybe 2. It was 17k. And at the end there, he had this crazy 4k with the ultimates, though. AC-130 ends up working.
Hey, AC-130 has yet to fail I've ever seen, because you can only counter it if you understand how to play against it, and it's absolutely frustrating just to be able to do anything, I think. So I'm more impressed that Guardian Graces had the confidence to run it out. I know if I was against them, I would be so tilted and calling them cheapskates, but that's just me. Though we do have some Sigma stats to kind of turn away from my tilt of seeing out with, Bastion doesn't even have his hat yet. Perry absolutely did as much as they could in this game, and I think was by far one of the shining moments on their side. Getting 46 eliminations, 18k damage, and 16 final blows. That's more than I really expect a Sigma to be able to produce within a single game.
Yeah, definitely. It was a ton of work there from Perry on that Sigma. We saw him play a lot of the Roadhog on the first map. It did a ton of work on the Roadhog pick, but wasn't enough to win him out this map. But this time it is, and you see Guardians Grace tying up the series 1-1.
Hey, it's a lot to look at. They looking pretty great. These teams are still very much even, and it's very much far from over. So I definitely think that you want to be able to stay tuned if you are interested to see who's going to be able to bring this out. Either way, we'll be back after this quick break.
They did find Cucumber, but he's going to lift him.
Oh, Vulcan gets caught right into that, and Speed is going to be able to follow up. Talking about jumping over to the Doomfist, talking about playing into the Doomfist.
A manos de la bola, ya son 3 las picks que conseguía el equipo de British Hurricane.
We need your help to decide our Opinion Outpost MVP of the match.
He's got a minute to kind of work some sort of pick against this Doc, and oh my good lord, they just got eviscerated. See?
Oh! He's not dead! Hey, now he's dead!
Holy cow, I've never seen someone get so aggressive.
Oh, catches their opponent outside of the building, and that is it!
It's Rocket League Wednesday on the High School Esports League home room. I am, as the kids say, vibing right now.
This is just fumes for them, while Pharaoh rips shot after shot after shot of the back of them. Good wall towards site, but it's already been broken, so they can't even get that spike down trustedly. Camera over towards site, and again, it's getting all that information. Hebot going absolutely massive!
Here in this map number 4 season, up on championship point, being up 2-1. Nifty dropped down to 19 HP. Joker with his M13 in hand is just trying to hold the angles.
Help you out. I won't lose you this time. One more wine, one more whiskey. And we just kept the car in park and dim the headlights so we see the stars. Let them tell us where we should start. And I'm scared as hell because there's no way to know how this goes. But I can't help but say I promise to give you my all. But it might break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. I won't let you down. But it might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. The sight of you, it makes me dizzy. And when you're gone, I miss your face. Tonight I'll meet you in our favorite place. And just can't let this wait one more day. But I'm scared as hell, and there's just no way to know how this goes. And I can't help but say, trusting why you are so beautiful. But it might break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. I won't let you down. But it might break
coming out from them. And then the Ana goes down after that, and it was just quick cleanup. Resignations and Witty really clutching out in the DPS department for SM, and they've got first capture crossing 15%. Ultimate's coming up online already. You're going to have Deadeye, and look, we've got Grab Dragons available for that test.
Oh, and they're gonna waste no time in committing it. The Graviton comes out. But it's not gonna get any. Oh, excited! Thank you so much, Sidebjorn. Living up to the beautiful strats from More Esports. They're gonna go ahead and teleport directly onto the point, so they will be meeting them tantamount.
Nothing to try and eat it with, nothing to stave it off, no support ultimates. They've got a shatter. It might just have to be put in to keep the Bastion ult, but they don't care about this Bastion ult. They've got a Baptiste.
Oh man, this is just nutty right now.
This is not something that you want to push in on, but it's going to be the bomb and the charge into Mansion picks up 3! All of the 3 that you want, the Reinhardt, both of the supports, and this is the fight done already. Frost Dragon
comes.
It does pull out the Transcendence, but the anti-nade gets...
Here comes back on the Doomfist, not hacked up by the EMP critically. Starjummer has the Deadeye, no hack this time around. Starjummer gonna clean up the fight, get 3, get the electric cowboy, we're dancing a fast.
This might be the best map for that in all of Overwatch as we see the hook shot and
Bane with the silk thread shot going on.
Is it gonna work well against the Ghost Confar as fine the but you're not gonna get through this.
I love watching teams that I haven't seen play before play. It's always thrilling.
Round 1.
It really is. It's wild cards. It's something you don't get to see at the higher levels. Everybody's at least been seen usually at lower level matches. So this is always a fun experience.
Alright, count it down. Don't worry. I'm gonna transition this. I got this. Oh my goodness. Welcome back, everybody. I'm sitting here. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've spent the last 10 minutes looking on Google Maps. I'm trying to find which team has the advantage. And right now I'm looking in some houses with like 4 ovens. I don't know, maybe it's just too hot to handle for me, but either way, we're back here with GitGud. I hope that you had a nice little break as we're standing with a tie, Forefront Esports versus Guardians Grace. I'm still user Intel. I got yelled at for saying underscore by Joe Razor. He's very rude sometimes. But either way, our next map is going to be kind of the beautiful, not kind of, the more of Junkertown. I love this map so much.
Yeah, you would.
What is that supposed to mean?
You would.
What type of what type?
You would.
What? I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Listen, of course I would love this map. Who doesn't? This map is known for its heavily sniper kind of rooms. All right, what do? That isn't just shoot somebody. Doomfist can definitely work, but this map is very much more clean to that Wrecking Ball style. Like, how am I not gonna love that? That is so much fun.
I'm not a fan of Overwatch Deathmatch Edition. It is that, like, this map is just this. They made this map as like a preview into how Overwatch 2 gameplay is gonna work. Like, it is actually absurd how just like bonkers this map is. Half the time, I have no idea what I'm looking at when I watch.
I think that's coming from somebody who doesn't know Overwatch. Alright? How much do you truly know, Mr. Joe Razor? What ELO are you in?
ELO? I don't play a ton of Overwatch anymore, but I'm like low diamond.
No, low diamond. This guy's low diamond, peeps. He's so bad. He's... Alright? Going into Junkertown.
You said you were bronze earlier.
I don't want to hear it. Alright, so as we move out, Junkertown very much, as we said before, is more of a sniper's map. That's solely because it's more open up, it's more fresh. I think first point can very much be a very easy way to just move in your momentum. But I think Guardian Grace is, after King's Row, I think they're going to be looking a lot stronger. They're going to be looking a lot better as we push forward.
Yeah, I think that's very, very fair here. As this map, it is very sniper heavy, but sometimes you see like brawl comps on this map with Symmetra. It can be very confusing.
What is that supposed to mean? Listen. Alright.
Well,
Oh.
no, I'm saying like sometimes you'll see like you either see really long range comps or you'll see like Symmetra Brawl on this map.
You know, you're not very wrong there, and I'm not too surprised to see kind of Forefront Esports walk out with this double shield. It's very much a very suitable composition for this defense. I'm more scared of the possibility that Guardian Graces can run. I'm definitely expecting Mickey to switch over to a Reinhardt, an Orisa, something, but then they're walking out of the room with this double eating composition?
Double leading composition? What?
You don't need to
I don't know if that's what I would call it, but sure. Yeah, this is a very silly comp. If you replace either of the off-takes with like a Wrecking Ball, then you start seeing, or like maybe you did a Orisa, then you start seeing a comp that could work, but I think they're going to struggle a lot with this kind of double off-take.
I think you're going to struggle immensely. You've already lost out on your Baptiste, who has to respawn. Then Will, who's on the Torbjorn, thinking, well, I can just headshot you, has to switch over to the Doomfist to make anything happen. And Tron is playing the most mid-range Widowmaker I have ever seen. While the Doomfist is stuck onto that high ground spot, just waiting for the perfect opportunity. Looks, takes that, dives, going to the back line, but then is found out. It's going to be Poke. You have no room to do much, or Diva's even just trying to stay alive. But the payload's in a spot where it's just being held, and eventually Nuggies is going to drop down. Mosquito even winning out on the hit scan duel. Guardians, by far, are making the most quick play compositions I've ever seen in my life, and yet they are still deciding to push out for it. And I don't blame them, but the problem comes with the fact that Mickey is going down dangerously low on their mech, and Perry is just completely broken by that Dragon Strike.
Yeah, if this was a quick play comp though, there'd be a Roadhog instead of the Diva, and we would see a Mercy. Because that's just how quick play rolls, man. You do see the Doomfist managing to pick there onto Mosquito, so man advantage for a bit, and there's the Roadhog. So,
hey,
there it is. The Doomfist goes forward onto the Doomfist though.
Yeah, I like that. You put in more damage, that one shot becomes stronger, but the bongo's there, and the moment you try to retreat and you shoot at your own Roadhog, you get shut down. Now you even try to pull out a hook and be able to kind of walk in, and now you're stuck inside this small corridor where you immediately get taken out. Poor Perry, you know, feeling like the platypus, just absolutely gone, and the Diva just kind of stuck inside the enemy's line. It's going to be able to escape. They're coming up on ultimate, but they don't really have much to be able to use it. The biggest bright side right now is the fact that Mosquito is going to be taken out, and that's fairly enough in an unresable position. Even if this Genji is, I don't know what this Genji's doing, but they're playing around.
I mean, how is he still alive? Okay, finally goes down.
Alistair,
Alligator, I mean, she just has to, like, count up the Glock to finish him off.
Yep,
they throw it off to the back. Doesn't get anything, though, as Forefront still has the man advantage.
Mickey wants to try doing the best, but Forefront Esports still have the majority of their team, and then they use the Bob and Dragons just as an insurance. They felt a tiny bit scared and threw everything out. Guardians are now feeling pressure to switch up their composition to something a bit more ordinary, but I wonder, is it too late? It's only a minute left in the bank.
Yeah, they don't have much time left. They make this last minute swap out to this very dive focus. Compared to see the Ash Jets for Mosquito, has been doing a decent amount of work there. That'll be around 10k damage per 10. As the Bap though, sticky with that's pretty weird. Normally you see a swap he'll run to like a break here, but I digress.
Yeah, I think so too. They're now pushing it, going into the back line, looking to find out anyone. This Mercy is now dangerously low, but the Tracer, in the same sense, gets meleeed out. They lose out Beacon FCB, meaning that they are at a major disadvantage. And with this payload moving closer in that window in an unusable position, there's just not much to do. Guardian Grace finally switching over to a composition that kind of makes more sense, and they're able to win it out. That means a lot, I think.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of great stuff there from Guardians Grace as they finally managed to work through first point. Not a ton of ultimates for them though. They do have the Nano Blade, which the Genji Blade, which is a really powerful ult on its own. But I wonder if they want to wait for a bit to try to build up into another Nano Boost as they're already 50 to it. On the other side of that, you're going to see both DPS ults and this Bongo, which I expect to see a Bongo pretty early, and there it is.
Yeah, they're already using it, looking for that
Oh,
pool to be able
great
to find
Holt.
anyone out, and it seems that Perry is the one. You know, I once casted with someone who told me Holt was an OP ability, and I still refuse to believe that. Because
Guess who that was?
yeah, you! Because look,
guess what just
it still
happened?
wasn't
The Holt
eight-
got a kill.
It got 1 kill to
Yeah, and
solidify
look,
that
they
fight.
just won the fight off of that.
They didn't win the fight, okay?
I mean, they
slowed it down.
nothing has happened for the last 15 seconds because of that kill onto that diva.
Yeah, but Mickey is still setting up. The Tracer was almost able to one clip, and now they're getting ready for a dive. If it wasn't for the fact that Perry's mech is already getting half health, and the Genji's now coming up to Blade, because that Nano last second is going out. What Holt is going to be able to stop that? Mosquito dies after setting up this Bob, and the Orisa's still dangerously low. There's not much you would do. No Holt going to be saving you from that, and with this Slam going down, Mickey will goes dangerously low. Red is trying to be able to take out this Tracer with the Pulse Bomb going inside the window. Well, more inside the back room. There's not much they can do. Eventually taking it out. This is where Guardian Graces are going to be kind of slipping up. They don't have the advantage anymore. As Red is inside the back line, being able to pick off the support line, and the Diva demeched, feeling a little bit more pressured.
Yeah, every time we see a glimpse of a kind of good fight here from Guardian's Grace, it seems it's just it's nothing more than just a toilet. I just forgot the word toilet rug, as they're not really managing to do much with it. So I expect Forefront to probably manage to keep holding this. You're gonna have a Primal Rage and a window, but the window's only gonna really be able to use there from Psyker. Nobody else on Guardian's Grace really has any ability to make use of it.
Hey, yeah, though Mickey does have this Primal, which may be a little nice, especially just because they have to try to make some setup. Once again, in this overtime situation, they're split. Reddit is dangerously low. It's going to be taken out, though they've lost Tom. The Nano still managing to land out just in time. The Mortality keeping them as Psychers using this window for an aggressive early push, but stuck and pushed out. Not going to be able to escape. This payload still by far moving, and they really haven't noticed just yet as it's getting close to the capture percentage. They're eventually going to drop down, use that Bongo, and start poking anyone out before they can do as much as they can. And it looks like Forefront Esports, they are going to be solidifying this point, going to be stopping it before it captures, but Guardian Grace is not looking too terrible.
I mean, they kind of won like one fight that entire map. Right? And just kind of got cart progress mid-fight in a lot of these situations. They managed to get it pretty far through first point without even having a fight, and then the fight they won managed to push it through. Rest of first, they managed to get cart around towards this first corner on second point. And then in that very last fight, they managed to get a bit farther with push, so they probably shouldn't have even capped first point, but due to these small incremental cart pushes they've gotten throughout the mid-fights, they've managed to get a okay push, but they definitely were hoping for more.
It's very much a built different push, and you're a hater.
A built different push.
Yes, that's how I'd like to put it. Built different. They were just built different when they walked out. And you know, maybe that's why Forefront Esports, they have the better win record. Okay, 6-2. They don't need to run conventional compositions. They'll just be able to bring it out. Though it seems that both of these teams are running out more ordinarily.
I mean, I don't know if I would say Widow Torb is a more ordinary comp. But
hater.
Yeah. The defensive side. Got to be a Hanzo and a Soldier. So this is a more regular comp. Normally it's maybe an Ashe instead of the Soldier, but Soldier isn't too uncommon. And on the other side, though, they're going to go for a very kind of normal comp here. So, yeah.
I really like that angle coming out of Mosquito. Was able to get a good headshot into Mickey, and now feeling a little more confident, takes those angles. Look at that, the Holt was not enough to be able to hit that shot. Not very strong ability, as I do say. But either way, enough of my pettiness aside, we see Reddit going on to this flank, being able to hit that headshot onto Tron. They need to be able to poke that out. They look like they want to res it, but the poke is there, making them feel a bit tiny pressured. Eventually, Tom does manage to get it out, but losing that big ability so early on. And what a headshot to land it out. Reddit does end up losing to Hanzo 1v1, but guess who has the Reddit? Not the Reddit, but the Res. Gonna be able to manage to kind of bring that back. The Widow being able to find out the Hanzo, and this is more in favor of Forefront Esports. They're now picking off the Sigma who's stuck inside their own backline, and the Orisa, who's kind of walking out using this halt, may be able to take 50% less damage, but with, oh my goodness, but with the damage kind of being pumped in, they're not even going to be able to hold. What is this? Over 5 minutes, you're going to be able to start pushing this. Sure, you lose Mosquito late, but Mosquito can switch up if they want to. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so you'll see a hold here from the side of Forefront. Or, I mean, not a hold, a first point cap from Forefront. Yeah, Pecan does go down really late there, but we'll be able to get back in the fight fairly quickly. Big ult bang coming through from both sides. The only big advantage for Forefront is the tank ult. They're on 20% closer to their ults than Guardian's Graces. What is FTB doing? Just going on a flank?
FTB is playing this game, okay? They're using this bongo just to set up that damage. FTB on the flank, meaning that they can take various angles and, well, focus off your attention. Now Guardian Grace is struggling just to be able to kind of make a difference as they walk down to the point, trying to slow it down and eventually using the Gravitic Flux, but there's not much of a team to really get much follow-up, and eventually, look at that parry, who has been shining throughout King's Row as a Sigma, fails to kind of help this out, and with this payload being at that very section, nobody's gonna have the respawn to be able to touch. That Doomfist even tries, gets Storm Arrowed and taken out the Dragons in a very favorable spot, yet the Mercy using that Valk, they want to do as much as they can to try and bring it back, going out for the res. It's gonna be taken before anything can happen, and the Gravitic Flux kind of finishes off Psyker, slams down onto Perry, maybe using that bongo, but I don't know if you can really win a 1v6. I've never seen it happen, and I guess we never will, because Forefront Esports, they're going to solidify their win, and they are going to take Junkertown.
Yeah, with a Junkertown, the number 2 seed in Forefront Esports are, well, one map away to moving them to the upper semis. As Guardians Grace are going to need some way of answering back here, because, I mean, they looked very much outclassed here in this map.
All right. I would say so too. I don't know exactly what's going on with them. More of than anything, I definitely feel that it's solely because they're kind of experimenting on a map that doesn't benefit from experimenting. I think King's Row very much is. You can benefit from it because every team runs the same thing. But I feel when you're screaming Junkertown, it's very much different compositions. And so you're kind of hindering yourself if you're running these things where kind of no, the team doesn't really have to worry about it because everything basically goes off of a script.
I guess I would feel pretty like I don't know. I think this is a map where, like, even if it looks like you're experimenting, you may not, due to just the kind of absurdity that is Junkertown, right? So it may look like somebody's experimenting, but that may just be the comp they normally run.
Listen,
like it is just a very weird
what team have you ever seen walk out with a composition like this? Not like this, past tense, because that was last map. Like that. Joe.
I wouldn't be surprised if I've seen it before, because I've seen a lot of stuff on Junkertown.
You've been playing way too much Valorant. You've lost yourself.
I haven't even played that much Valorant. I decided to play today.
No, you've absolutely lost yourself when it came to everything, so I'm gonna ignore you. I'm gonna talk about Overwatch, my favorite game in the world, even if it's kind of weird at times. We're gonna be seeing Temple of Anubis as our possible last map.
Framed.
Absolutely. And Temple of Anubis, I gotta say, this is a little bit more worrying going on to the side of Guardian Grace, because they looked good on Brawl. Temple of Anubis is not Brawl.
Nope.
Alright. And be honest, okay? Be honest. Do you see a Doomfist walking out here? How much do you see that working? How much do you see that working?
I don't know. Let me think. I don't think it'll work very well if they pull it out. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it, because it's not a terrible pick here for Doomfist, but neither. The Doomfists have been fine throughout the series, but the Doomfist picks haven't been super impactful. I feel like just running a different hero would just be more impactful, honestly.
You know, you make a fair point, and we're really not going to be able to tell what they run until this very second, where these teams now have an operation to kind of come up with ideas. And it seems that their idea just is focused on dive, which I fully respect, though Guardian Graces. I'm a little scared. Sometimes I talk about the compositions that they walk out on before they walk out, and then they switch it. I don't trust Guardian Grace. I think they're running out with this. My schizophrenia is kicking.
Alright. Well... yeah, so the defense. It's gonna be a very... I don't want to say strange, but definitely different comp here than what we see. It's gonna be fairly traditional dive, honestly. Just the big difference is we're gonna see a Genji instead of what probably would normally be a Tracer. And also a Mercy pick, which will be pocketing this Echo. Sometimes you might see a... no pocketing, just see a bring instead, but instead they won't get a pocket for it. It's already paying off dividends.
My goodness, they're already being able to take out Psyker, who was just wanting to make a rotation to their team. Now without healing, Mickey and Will aren't going to be able to survive Forefront Esports. Well, they're going to be able to hold this with the confidence of 1,000 suns.
That's quite a lot of suns, Intel.
It's a lot of confidence.
It's a lot of confidence, yeah. They will win that out. Guardian's Grace, like I didn't really get a chance to talk about their comp, but it is this kind of, I guess it's just kind of a close thing to a kind of Thrall comp, but they don't have a Mercy, Lucio, so you can't speed very easily. Instead, they're gonna run a Pharmacy now, so it feels very disjointed, the Guardian's Grace comp.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of things. We're already seeing them
what a shot
to find much as Will goes onto this Pharah, and it seems to be the true difference maker. They're not being able to take out really anyone on the side of Guardian Grace. There's just too much spam damage, and now they have the confidence just to be able to push forward. They're not being scared. They're putting in that aggression, and now they're going to be able to capture the first point.
Yeah, first point down here. For their side of Guardian Grace, so they may have a weird comp, but it does generate a first point cap if they can remember to stand onto the point. As like people are still getting killed, they will all get quick respawns, but Will, who died very late there for Guardian's Grace, will either need to be resurrected or it's gonna be quite a while before he comes back.
Hey, more than anything, they've got to be able to push on to the second point, and with losing that far very early and then your Soldier 76 coming up, well, you kind of just have to have a reset. You do use that immortality in the Graviton Surge, which comes out to focus down on the Monkey. You're kind of going 8-brain if you really think that was going to help much. Look at the rest of your team. They're now looking a little bit sporadic, and, well, that Zarya's going to be losing all their charge.
Yeah, so Zarya does end up dropping, like you said, causing him to lose all of his charge, but he will manage to hold back. So Guardian's Grace will have some ults to work with here. They're gonna have everyone except that grab, which we saw committed in the last fight. Forefront though, they're gonna have some ults to answer back. Duplicate, very powerful. Diva Bomb and a Valkyrie from Allilator as well.
They're already being set up. They're doing a good job as they're building up their ultimates. That's 5 besides the Graviton Surge, meaning they're going to have a lot. We do see Reddit use this copy, picks that Reinhardt, wants to be able to just walk out, hit you with that Shatter, and does manage to kind of MTD Mickey a tiny bit. They're not even going to be able to have an opportunity to use their ultimate. Will is just stuck inside their line as well. So, hey, at least you get a chance to escape another plan. You still have plenty of time.
Yeah. Nicely done there from Forefront to once again hold back here. Only using that duplicate, really. I guess they used Primal as well. So, not a lot of ults though for them committed, but I mean on the other side they committed 0 ult, so it's like ult-wise Guardian's Grace did come out on top. So expect to see a big ult investment for them in this next fight, or maybe they just try to wait until they can have their Graviton Surge.
Yeah, I definitely would have to say that. Though, look at this. Nuggies eventually gets taken out after taking 2. But the rest of Forefront enable this Shreds, take out the Pharah, and push forward. Guardian Graces don't even have an opportunity to play aggressive because Forefront have completely switched up their style.
Yeah, Forefront are looking quite dangerous here. They're playing very aggressive. And it's paying off in leaps and bounds here. You're already going to see Primal Rage build back up here for KFC. And Guardian's Grace, I think they're just waiting for 6 ults to engage, but it's taking quite a while for them to build up into this Flux. Not Flux, the Graviton Surge.
I don't know what this confidence is to be able to use 6 ultimates in one. I definitely think you're going to be relying on a lot, and already they're walking out, but then they lose their Soldier 76 inside the small room. Following up, they're stuck just trying to take an opportunity to get an early pick, and Forefront are building just as many ultimates as Guardians have saved. Eventually even using this visor after Nikki uses the shatter just to make sure, and you block the grab the moment that you use it. Ah!
Yeah, well, I grabbed there. I mean, okay, they're switching comps. So imagine goes on to the Diva, but you literally just wasted 2 minutes waiting to have 6 ults, and then you use only 4 of them, and you don't really get any value out of half of them.
I am emotionally gone now. Alright? I have no definition of understanding of what in the Huckleberry just happened. Because they switched up their entire comp, using up all that time and ult economy. They do walk out playing onto the point, being able to find out the Mercy, with the Monkey being the only one there to kind of contest, is going to be able to kind of move in and try to capture that first tick. But the Echo already loses out their Monkey copy, now has to start getting in these staggers. The rest of Guardian Graces are struggling just to kind of move in. They don't even get the first tick. Eventually they do build that visor up extremely fast, that bomb stopping them from being able to touch, but there is no remake for FTP. Got the first tick. It's less than a minute to stop these respawns and capture the second one. The Doomfist is the last person who's going to be able to touch, and they already melt you down. Guardian Graces are the most polarizing team, being able to get stopped for the longest time and then stop with only 1 push.
Yeah, for sure. This is a really weird first round. I mean, Guardians Grace, right? They start off on this really disjointed brawl comp. They struggle out on first point. In their first bit, they look really lost, and they steamroll, right? They look like they didn't know what they wanted to do, and then they seem to figure it out just like that, and they switch comp and get a lot of work done on first point. Second point, they stay on this comp with like 5 ults for like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. And then they like disjointedly use ults and don't get a lot of value out of them, and then swap comps. It just is. They look very disjointed, Guardians Grace does. And then when they switched comps, though, all of a sudden, when they switched to a comp that had a cohesive plan and idea to it, they ended up working a lot better. So I am a bit worried that Guardians Grace are going to continue this streak of using weird comps that don't really make sense, either being punished by Forefront using more normal comps, but who knows. They're going to run a fairly decent comp here on the defense. Doomfist, though, once again, with the Soldier. That's the weirdest part about it. But Forefront, they're going to run out on this strange dive comp that we saw them run on the defense to start things off.
Hey, anything's possible in this world of Overwatch gaming. We are seeing Forefront now set up, running onto this dive on the aggression side, while Guardian Grace is more of a kind of interesting dive than anything, having that Doomfist and Soldier. They do freely get this rotation without much of a worry, and even forcing Mickey to have to use, well, Mickle, more of it, to use that resource just to be able to disengage. They now take over the high ground, which the true brawl takes place. Yet Reddit is behind them, being able to pump in that damage, forcing the Mercy to, I mean, not the Diva tried to do too much. The Doomfist eventually getting hit with those stickies, taken out. Mickle trying to do as much as they can to just move in, but then the anti lands down, taking everyone else out. So with Mickle being inside the backline, not being able to protect their own team, well, we see what happens. They eventually leave themselves open to be taken out. Now Forefront Esports, they have a moment to get not only a higher time bank, but capture the second point.
My shots find their mark. 100% agree. Forefront, they look good. They look really good on these dive comps. And they're really close to a lot of ults here, while Guardians Grace are like 60% to a couple. They're going back to this double off tank.
I don't even know what to say. It seems they just want to primarily eat the damage that's coming out. We see the Mercy going down already. Tom not having much mosquitoes in your back line, sucking you dry like a mosquito, more of it. Nuggies does gets that nano, being able to push forward with the Primal Rage, but they're all off the point. Eventually they get that first take with around 5 minutes, and this is where the Guardians respawn start to kick in. As they get that DMAC out, they need to have this focus fire if they want to be able to win. No staggers, take no survivors. Doomfist immediately walking out, tries to slam, gets slapped. Tracer not going to be able to touch for just a bare second, but these ultimates are built with Sigma now returning in, plus Diana, that's a benefit. This blade there, combined with that, well, nothing, is going to be able to just kind of melt you down. Thought it had the nano, but really they don't truly need it. Now with this second take, they just have to have more focus fire. They want to take it out. They lose out peeking, which is going to be an issue moving out, but losing that Doomfist is more of an issue because that res is now opened up and they are getting your Tracer. They are looking for your Lucio, who is stuck trying to touch and is unable to. 4 minutes and 37 seconds. Forefront Esports have solidified a higher time, but we're going to be seeing more come out of Guardian Grace if they want to be able to keep their playoff chances alive.
Yep. That was insane for Forefront. That's a crazy, crazy time bank. They're really close to putting themselves here in the upper semifinals. Well, if Guardians Grace lose the set, they will drop to the losers bracket. Where I could probably figure out who they're gonna play. They would play, who knows yet? They would either play Bird Biting a Lime or Ignited Embers. Those would be they would play one of those two.
You're telling me you don't memorize GitGud? Listen.
No,
when I wake up,
I couldn't remember. I thought I couldn't remember which ones. I know every team to ever play in GitGud history.
Listen, alright? When I wake up and I breathe GitGud. Do you understand that? But I don't think Grace Guardians understand that. And I'm wondering what's going on in their comms that are kind of creating this disjointed coordinations that are happening. They look like a strong team at times, and then in other times they start breaking it up. And with this composition that they're running on attack instead of just that dive, which worked when they used it, I'm very worried.
Yeah, I am too. I think Forefront are in a really good spot to win this. As Guardians Grace, they're running a Hog's Feet comp with Doom Reaper. But then they're running a back rig. This is...
Yeah, they're already set
I
out.
think they're getting kills though, so never mind.
It works to their benefit. They're being able to find out the DPS, Mercy, and Winston. Sure, Reddit's being able to get those picks, but being focused out by the Baptiste is a struggle in itself. Not going to really be able to do much. They have to really rely onto the second point. Though, Guardians really only have one fight if they want onto the second point, if they want any chance of capping.
Yeah, definitely. This is looking pretty good here for the side of Guardians Grace. They have shocked me with the fact that they managed to even get a first point cap here. But we'll see what they're able to do here following into second.
Okay, well, following into second, we're just seeing Forefront run onto the brawl and start pushing in. They take out the Doomfist. They use that anti to make sure he got no healing. And now with that immortality far past Guardian Grace's, well, they're just walking into FTB, eventually using that inspirational charge at 1 HP, barely able to survive and escape. Mosquito's the one who sacrificed, but now Guardian Grace, they have to touch that point. We see the Reaper using their own Wraith while Reddit eats up the entirety of their backline. They're just barely kind of doing as much as you can, but Brig is by far the strongest character in this game as you just get hit by taller Brig with the German kind of accent, and they're going to be able to capture this, well, defense. As we see Forefront Esports, they're going to solidify the fact that they now have a very good win condition. You either cap the first point and you get a draw, victory, or Guardian Grace full hold you. But they have continuously looked weaker as the series has been going on, which is getting worrying.
Yeah, Guardian Grace, they did okay for their attack, but this is definitely not what you want to see. This is going to be very, very tough here for Guardians Grace. Forefront Esports pulled off a really good attack. 4.5 minutes in the time bank. I mean, this is more than you would get in like a regulation attack, right? So if you're Guardians Grace, you're gonna have to pull off a miracle of a defense to pull this off.
Miracle of a defense is not to put it lightly. You know, I'm not a religious man. All right, I'll tell you straight up. But if there's any time to pray to Blizzard, the gods that hold your game in their hands, it is now. Because you're running with Double Shield. It is a very good composition. But they haven't been looking good when it comes to unified as a team. They work better when they're playing split and more quick play.
Yeah, I feel good about Forefront, though. I mean, this dive comp they've looked around, they've looked way better on the attack than they have on the defense with it. It is definitely more attacky favored comp, so I'm feeling pretty good about Forefront still. But Guardians Grace, they're going to try to come out with a double shield here, Widowmaker and an Echo for them. You're going to see this Mercy pocket the Echo too, because there's a dive comes through onto this main core of Guardians.
Yeah, they're already forcing out that immortality, so Perry and the entirety of the side of Guardian Graces, they drop off the point, though they get a trade. Tom for Reddit, that's pretty good. Except that Reddit gets rezzed, and now your entire team is being dived in their own backline. Though Tron's able to find out Mosquito, and eventually Will's going to be falling down. They are stuck inside these small corners, not getting much, but that was a very nice clean headshot, and D-Mech. Although it's just not enough. Now. You're going to have to bring it back when it comes to the second fight, because it is now or never.
Yeah, there's going to be 4 minutes here for Forefront to capture 1 tick, or a little less than, to capture a single tick here on second point. Bastion from Tronus here. Maybe a bit of a desperate pick, but see what they're able to do with it. Forefront don't have a ton of ults to work with here coming in second. You're going to have the nano boost. I expect them to go forward onto the Winston, probably. They might actually just save it, honestly, till they get Blade, because they have so much time. They need to win like half of a fight. So.
Hey, really, half of a fight
they have a lot of options.
Yeah, I am more impressed to see this Bastion come out. That's a true desperation move, but then the Bastion immediately leaves the fight, sacrificing Guardians to the Wolves as they lose too. And then they come out to try and stop this res, but it's there. The Mercy even using the gun. Guardian Graces now coming out. We see that blade get broken out. The copy going on to the Bastion, funny enough. So, hey, that's a little bit of awkwardness than anything. Yet,
no!
But for Esports, they still have the picks than anything. They even managed to boop around the Bastion, stopping them from touching. If one person gets off, this Orisa stops doing anything, it's all over in a millisecond, and they are picked. And look at that, the Valk's just not fast enough to be able to touch that point, and Forefront Esports are not taking this L. They are going forward within the playoffs.
Wow. Forefront Esports taking a win here. The number 2 seeded intermediate, beating, I believe, what was the number 7 seed in Guardians Grace. They put up a decent fight, though. They kept a lot of these maps closed here, but you really saw on Junkertown and then on Anubis the kind of difference in skill in between these two teams, as Forefront put on some really good performances here to advance themselves into the upper bracket, where they will either be playing LSFC or Haven, or the University of Haven varsity. So those will be either of those teams they will play. It's yet to be known, though, as this is really good for Forefront Esports, right? You get yourself into the upper semifinals. You're really close to getting a match with Paradise Tempest, most likely, who is the number 1 seed in the playoffs. If the favorites win their matches, that's who they would play in the upper finals. So you have a lot to look forward to if you are Forefront Esports.
I definitely have to agree, but you also have to be worried about the competition that lays ahead. I think we can both agree that going inside a loser's bracket is much more favorable than anything, but you know, it looks a lot worse. And I know what you're thinking. How is that possible? I solely think just because being in the loser's bracket means that you're going up against a team that has already lost. So if you're just like throwing, knowing that you can beat in the winner's bracket, you just want an easier ride, you can get yourself up there free. No sweat or doubt. But Guardian Graces, they have an uphill.
Yeah,
Stop looking at me like that.
I'm looking at you like that because you said getting into the uppers finals is easier than going through the losers bracket.
Oh, I meant like it's easier going through the losers bracket than the winners.
Oh,
all right, Joe, you're in
okay.
a pantry. Eat something. All right, you look
Oh.
low. You need some blood sugar inside yourself. All
I need some
right.
blood sugar right here. Oh, let me drink my tea.
My goodness, I still find it's absolutely impressive how this match went, and I do think
I'm good now. I'm good now.
I do think Guardian Graces have a lot to work on if they want to be able to be in a final championship, if they want to be able to make a difference. They made a lot of questionable decisions that they have to sit down as a team and figure out what's going on and what they can fix.
Yeah, I definitely agree, but I believe that is it here for this first match of the day. Of course, one more to go. One more.
You are right, but I'm not going to tease who it is. I definitely think you should just come back to be able to see. So we'll be right back with GitGud NA after this short break.
And when you're gone, I miss your face. Tonight I'll meet you in our favorite place. Just can't let this wait one more day. But I'm scared as hell, and there's just no way to know this goes. And I can't help but say, dressing why you are so beautiful. But it might break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. I won't lay you down. But it might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. It might break me. It might break me. It might break me down. But it might break me. But it might break me, break me. It might break me, break me. It might break me down. It might break me. watch your step. That's not a threat, no. My heart is a house of cards. They had those shaky hands, they let me fall apart. And I know it shows, yeah. You keep me on my toes, yeah. Just one more song, yeah, yeah. Play it till I'm gone. When I start sinking, all my demons start creeping in. When I start breaking, will you be waiting?
They did find Cucumber, but he's gonna lift him.
Oh, Vulcan gets caught right into that, and Speed is going to be
Oh,
able to follow
no.
up. Talk
You
about
let
something
him
over to the
do.
Doofus, talking about playing into the Doofus.
A manos de la bola. Va, ya son 3 las picks que conseguía el equipo de British Hurricane.
We need your help to decide our opinion outpost MVP of the match.
He's got a minute to kind of work some sort of pick against this Doc, and oh my good lord, they just got eviscerated. See?
He's not dead! Hey, now he's dead!
Holy cow, I've never seen someone get so aggressive.
Oh, catches their opponent outside of the building, and that is it!
It's Rocket League Wednesday on the High School Esports League home room. I am, as the kids say, vibing right now.
This is just fumes for them. Wow, Pharaoh rips shot after shot after shot of the back of them. Good wall towards site, but it's already been broken, so they can't even get that spike down trustedly. Camera over towards site, and again, it's getting all that information. Hebot going absolutely massive.
Here in this map number 4 season, up on championship point, being up 2-1. Nifty dropped down to 19 HP. Joker with his M13 in hand is just trying to hold the angles.
And I know it shows, yeah. You keep me on my toes, yeah. Just one more song, yeah, yeah. Play it till I'm gone. love to watch the way you made me into a mess. Hands on my dress, neon red. You were everything I didn't need until you left. Now I'm dancing around my living room. I get drunk on the thought of you and I. When you were mine, see your eyes in every stranger. I replay the way that we were till I'm high. No, it's not right. I miss you missing me like you used to, yeah, like you used to. I miss you kissing me like you used to, like only you do. You know the good things are never as good as the bad, and your love is better than anything I've ever had. Oh, I miss you missing me like you used to, yeah, like you used to. I know you're gone, and you probably just forgot me. Yeah, you're moving on. But I can't let go, 'cause I'm still sleeping with the moments, lying with your ghost. Now I'm dancing around my living room. I get drunk on the thought of you and I, and you're not mine. But I miss you missing me like you used to, yeah, like you used to. I miss you kissing me like you used to, like only you do. You know the good things are never as good as the bad, and your love is better than anything I've ever had. Oh, I miss you missing me like you used to, yeah, like you used to. Heart overhead, and I guess I love to watch the way you made me into a mess. I miss you missing me like you used to, yeah, like you used to. I miss you kissing me like you used to, like only you do. You know the good things are never as good as the bad, and your love is better than anything I've ever had. Oh, I miss you missing me like you used to, yeah, like you used to. You know the good things are never as good as the bad, and your love is better than anything I've ever had. Oh, I miss you missing me like you used to, yeah, like you used to.
Healing that was coming up from them. And then the Ana goes down after that, and it was just quick cleanup. Resignations and Witty really clutching out in the DPS department for SM, and they've got first capture crossing 15%. Ultimate's coming up online already. You're going to have Deadeye, and look, we've got Grab Dragons available for SS.
Oh, and they're gonna waste no time in committing it. The Graviton comes out. It was there, but it's not gonna get any. Oh, excited. Thank you so much, Sidebjorn. Living up to the beautiful strats from more Esports. They're gonna go ahead and teleport directly onto the point. So they will be meeting them tantamount.
Nothing to try and eat it with, nothing to stave it off, no support ultimates. They've got a shatter. It might just have to be put in to keep the Bastion ult, but they don't care about this Bastion ult. They've got a Batiste!
Oh man, this is just nutty right now.
This is not something that you want to push in on, but it's going to be the bomb and the charges to Mansion picks at 3. All of the 3 that you want are Reinhardt, both of the supports, and this is the fight done already. Frost
Here it comes.
That's a draft. It does pull out the Transcendence, but the anti-mid gets.
And here comes back on the Doomfist, not hacked up by the EMP critically. Starjummer has the Deadeye, no hack this time around. Starjummer gonna clean up the fight, get 3, get the electric cowboy for dancing effect.
This might be the best map for that in all of Overwatch as we see the whole shot and
Bane with the silk thread shot going on.
Isn't gonna work really well against the Ghost Confar as fine the UP will but you're not gonna get through this.
I love watching teams that I haven't seen play before play. It's always thrilling.
Round 1.
It really is. It's wild cards. It's something you don't get to see at the higher levels. Everybody's at least been seen usually at lower level matches. So this is always a fun experience.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. I sure hope you enjoyed that break, or if you're just tuning in, we've had a bit of a couple missteps, some bad English, some bad reading, some bad math. Either way, we are standing tall and proud within the playoffs of the NA season. weird intros aside, I'm username_Intel here, joined by Joe Razor as we take one tier up within kind of the Get Good division. Joe Razor, how are you feeling with both of these two amazing teams up above?
Yeah, I think both teams are pretty good. They're both pretty good. I mean, of course, they made playoffs, right? They are both pretty good teams throughout the season. You have 4th seeded Celestial and then 5th seeded Charybdis. So both teams have put on good performances, and I'm definitely excited. You look at Celestial, their record over the season, they managed to go 5-3, so not the best record, but Charybdis went 4-4, so only separated by a win, but good enough to make playoffs, and good enough to get the 4th and 5th seed.
Yeah, PR Celestial has been one of those teams that I have an on and off relationship of. Because, like, I see them sometimes played, and then sometimes I don't keep up to them. So they're a team I'm very familiar with, and they've always been a mixed feeling team. Because I'm either seeing them kind of make big mistakes, and that costing them fights, but then they look very good. And I think that's kind of what happens when we're in this ELO. We're at that area where people are really good at this game, but they can be kind of brain dead at times because they're so focused on their own mechanics.
Yeah. I think that can be fair. I feel like a lot of times, though, these players have such good game sets and understanding of how to play the game, right? Because, I mean, they're expert. They're really good at Overwatch. So...
Yeah, but hey, let's talk about the first map that's coming up. Both of these teams have to kind of focus on that, and it's going to be Busan. This is by far one of my favorite control maps. Better than Lijiang Tower, in my opinion. Lijiang Tower is outrun, outdone, and I'm ready to have
overrated,
more fun.
Man.
Exactly. We finally agree on something, Joe. I'm so happy. You know, so it's great to see that we're going to be able to agree. And honestly, what makes you love Busan? For me, I just love the fact that it is inviting to different styles of compositions, but a lot of compositions that focus on rush and team coordination. Those are my favorite parts, especially mecha base, where you can run a Doomfist, and Doomfist is one of my favorite characters.
I'm Intel, and I like Doomfist and hate the idea of...
That's a pretty based assumption.
That was my impression of you.
Oh! That's pretty toxic. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I fell for that one. I'll give you that one straight up. But either way, with my sarcasm and anger, you know, exiting my body like a Olympian, we're gonna be seeing these teams run out. Joe, we both know I don't even know what I'm talking about. I make it up as I go, and I get it, and I look good. All right, that's by far what we're rocking with. Do you understand that? Exactly. Either way, look at these two different compositions. I don't think I've ever seen
going crazy, man.
Don't even worry about it. I don't think I've ever seen the Wrecking Ball composition played on Mecha Base.
The only time I saw it was so I got lucky enough to scrub against Sideshow's talent takedown team, and Avril was their main ticket. He's a ball one trick, so I may or may not have seen it on this map.
Oh my goodness.
Let's just say it did not go very well.
Yeah, and already they are taking very nice rotations, trying to just make that poke, but it doesn't work as well because they're taking so much damage. Kill switch already going to be DMA'd, and look at that. Ghost is just picked off before anything can happen. Osama was just feeling fine playing that Reinhardt, pushing forward, and they're going to be able to take full control over the point. I don't see this Wrecking Ball comp being able to kind of have that aggression or style.
Yeah, definitely. This Wrecking Ball comp I feel is going to struggle quite a bit here against a very just kind of basic brawl. Because your only way to get into these fights, right? You want the Wrecking Ball to create some disruption, kind of move somebody away from the fray, to allow the Tracer to capitalize on that. But I mean, look, Sveol sections up the ball, and there he goes down. Ozone.
Oh, that's gotta hurt more because they also lose out Natsu, who's trying to flank around the Brig, who wanted to try and use her rally, whip just to be able to get much, and the Ashe, who somehow lives longer than expected. I'm more curious, how do they try to break in? It seems that they're more looking into switching things up with Natsu going over to the Sombra.
Yeah, they will swap over onto the Sombra here to run this. Instead of the Tracer, I would honestly like to see a Tracer Sombra. That would be my favorite variation currently, I think. But they're gonna have to walk into 2 DPS ults, the Blizzard and the High Noon, as well as the Shatter close to a Diva Bomb and then a Window. So a lot of ults to work against.
Yeah, they are slowly capping the point, but this window stops anyone from kind of walking out doing some damage. They do have the Transcendence as a way of security, but they're not able to eat that Blizzard fast enough. That was almost a quick kind of reaction from Kill Switch, but it's just not enough. Though the Transcendence does manage to save out the little tiny squishies who were there, but the Shatter lands just after everything happened. And then you use the Bob, and it fits the name. That was a deception. It was optical.
Yeah. Great stuff from them. So you can see, coming into the final fight here, maybe. Not really any ults for Celestial. They used everything they had other than this rally. And there's a Sound Bear from Sada.
Yep, they're already losing out too. The Sound Barrier lets them move forward without any care in the world. Sure, that High Noon mostly gets Ian, but they don't have any ultimates but the Mine to really help them out, and no team to really make room off of it. The Wrecking Ball also messes up. All the momentum isn't even able to touch, same with Kill Switch, so we're not going to be seeing PR Celestial being able to capture this back. And this is kind of the point that I want to bring back up from the intro. I see them make very big mistakes like this, and it's always kind of confusing what's going on.
Yeah, they just, I don't know why they chose to run that comp. It just, it feels so out of place here for this map, and it can work, but not on that point, right? This is a point where I would like to see it. I think that is what they're gonna run here, as you'll see Deception go for a Symmetra TP, then swap off to a Tracer most likely, while Charybdis, you're going to see the same thing from Super B, as those are the TPs, and then they both go onto the Tracer. So, pretty similar comps. Big difference is the Echo for Celestial, and then the Pharah for Charybdis.
And I think this is the moment where Celestial can feel a little bit more proud, except when they walk out and then they see Neptune who's playing that Pharah. And Pharah is the rudest character, because look at the amount of burst damage you're already being able to place down. Eventually a Ghost is going to be picked while the support line is kind of moving in, taking them out. It is still somewhat of an even trade, but with OZ kind of dangerously low, there's not much that they can do. Though they do manage to trade out, finding out Char's own Wrecking Ball, so Celestial has this more in the favor. They do want to play more onto the point, try to start getting those ticks, want to get as much capture as possible, while we see Char try to have a reset, maybe a moment to rethink. Though they still push out, manage to find out OZ, still not enough. They don't really have a team to be able to bring this point back, and even now they look like they more or less want to reset, yet they play at this mid-range, being able to find out too. They still want to take this fight, though Speedy gets picked without the Echo Natsu trying to just kill this Mercy who's flinging around, the hardest hero to kill, as we see the Diva being able to clean up, even Septa being able to get the res onto Speedy, somehow bringing this back from when they were down. They really don't care what type of advantage or disadvantage they have, they're just happy to get this point.
Yeah, so Charybdis answer back, managing to get a cap of their own. 27% does what Celestial is able to gain. You're going to see, okay. All right, Speedy.
A little bit dirty, not gonna lie to you,
Yeah, just a tad bit.
It was an optical deception. It was all about a flank more than anything, and that's a little scary. Although they seem to have scouted out OZ.
Yeah, Thirsty is in the back, forced out. Manages to get alive though. Yes, you see his mirror comp now, so no more fair, just the Echo. And there's the difficulty from Napkin.
Hey, manages to hit the Tracer. That's not too bad. It's a little weird, but I've seen it work. They're going to be popping out, managing to get that Pulse Bomb and the eventual DMAC onto the Diva. The Transcendence comes out once both Pulse Bombs tries to land, and well, Speedy's just going to be able to escape, but eventually be dived on. Not going to be able to survive, but manages to get OZ low enough to where Neptune can reliably take them out. Though there isn't much when it comes to Char to be able to touch this point. They do manage to get it up to 55, but they've immediately lost it.
Yeah, the Transcendence there from Speedy was used due to the Pulse Bomb that came through from Natsu's duplicate. You saw the Pulse get thrown onto Speedy, and then Speedy popped the Trance to try to sustain to get away from and stay alive. And just gets immediately killed, though, from the Wrecking Ball. Guy coming through on the point, though, Cryptis.
Yeah, look at that already. Wrecking Ball's picked down, Pulse Bombs eaten. Celestial looking nice. That bomb does go out high and just barely
misses.
misses out. That was a little bit too close for comfort, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets thrown out a bit farther, you probably kill both supports there, but slightly misses its target. A lot of ults, though, for Celestial. You're going to have a Pulse Bomb, Diva Bomb as well, and a boom support ult. So a lot of stuff to work with here, as you're going to see Osamu tag on the point you're trying to draw attention.
Yep, look at this already coming back out into the fight. Speedy is managing to find out not to, meaning they're not going to be having that burst damage. And this point kind of being switched up at 82%. Deception just wants to look to kind of poke down the tank and eventually finish off the rest of the support line, because Speedy's not going to be there to protect them. They've already using this rally, well, weird sentence, but still. And now Char is going to be having a lot of issues trying to break through. It's at last fight scenario, and the Transcendence at least is forced out, but it's going to be able to heal them on the point. So it's really not too out of vain. Though this copy does land onto the Diva. Neptune wants to be able to try to take out anybody, but it seems they're immediately just going to be demeg. And I don't think you're going to be able to get that remeg kill. How? They're landing to get it onto the opposite opponent. Even built at that bomb, throw it. They land it, takes out a ghost, and you're being able to push forward as it just seems Char are going to be able to get these advantages. Though Neptune eventually falls, and it seems they're going to be able to build up that Transcendence fast enough because of Speedy. That entire fight was saved by Neptune, and I can't believe I have to say that.
Yeah, I mean, both Divas of Charybdis, they combined for 4 kills there. The duplicate, of course, you saw the remake. The kill is the baby Diva. There's the actual Diva of Charybdis managed to come out with 2K towards the end of that fight. Really big plays there to hold on to this. We're kind of nearing last fight territory for this point. Charybdis, one fight away from taking this opening map.
Hey, more than anything, they're getting extremely close from just solidifying their ability to make these kind of plays to win off. They do have ultimates using Septush Rally to have some sustain, and eventually Natsu's going to be taking that Diva. Though a Ghost gets picked off, they are going to be looking to kind of trade in onto Speedy. Even eating out Super B's Pulse Bomb means a lot. They threw the bomb onto the point, just barely getting that touch, meaning that they are going to be having some sustain. The remix being broken down, and that bomb's high in the sky, almost managing to take out, especially with that boop. We're going to need to see Celestials bring it back. They're at a major disadvantage, especially with those mines just barely being able to touch the Tracer. Their Pulse Bomb gets eaten. It was an optimal deception once more. We see them trying to be able to take out Septa and push over the rally, now coming onto the point, but split off by the mine, now taking so much damage and eventually melted down. We're not going to be seeing PR Celestials bring it back. We're going to be seeing the opposite side, a team I cannot pronounce just yet, so I'll keep calling them Charybdis.
Charybdis.
Maybe just have easier names to pronounce, because we're looking at them being able to win out on Busan.
Yeah. Great job there from Charybdis. They take PR Celestial's map pick of Busan. They're up the set. Just a small thing, there was 3 pulse bombs needed for both, if you combine both Divas. They combined 3 pulse bombs on that final point. Yeah, there's 2 ways to look at it. It could either be, wow, those are some big plays there from the Divas, or you could be like, the Tracer should have timed their pulse bombs better. But yeah, it was great job from both of them.
I think more than anything, it's more on the Tracer's fault for letting their pulse bomb get eaten, because DM is such an easy ability to avoid if you use your eyes.
I wouldn't say easy, but
it's a big rectangle that when you drop it lands down for like half a second. If you bait it out, you've got it, okay? Use your eyes, Joe Razor. And I know you're embarrassed by me, but use your eyes. Okay?
What do you mean embarrassed by you?
I don't know. I feel like this is something on your record you'll never bring up to your employers. You want them to see me just pulling up my eyelids and saying eyes? I don't think you do. I think more than anything, employers want to be seeing how these teams are going at each other. And I'm feeling like PR Celestial, they look good when they play a composition that they want to play. But even then, I feel they're making very big mistakes. And I don't know whether that's kind of just the engagements, team coordination. I feel that it's not as easy to define with what's seeing wrong.
I definitely agree. I think Celestial, they just look, they didn't look bad. They looked bad at the first point, but I think that was more of a competitive, right? The second point where we saw mirror comps for most of it, I felt more of just Charybdis had a bit more of a clutch potential on some of these situations.
You know, I definitely would have to agree. And, you know, already kind of setting themselves up for that MVP title is Neptune. I think we can both kind of admit. Yes, Neptune made one very spectacular play, and we're going to talk about that for the rest of the series because that means something. If you're able to make that play, that means something, especially going forward, which is absolutely beautiful. I'm very kind of excited to see the next map move in because more than anything, this is gonna not fall into Celestio's point. It's gonna be Eichenwald, which feels more of a defensive passive map rather than a high aggressive wrecking ball composition where you can move forward and just kind of slam your head against the enemies.
Yeah, definitely. Eichenwald's an interesting map here. Normally you see maybe like a King's Row, maybe a Hollywood, but it's gonna be Ike here. There's a lot of Orisa is available for both teams. I think Orisa's a decent pick, and on top of that, I think you could also maybe look at pulling out some more ball comps.
I definitely think you're right in that sense. I think wrecking ball compositions, they can work on second point, maybe to an extent on first point, which Celestial may look to kind of play. But more than anything, why are they running out both on the wrecking ball composition? Is there something I'm missing in this division?
Wrecking ball is pretty good.
No, okay. Listen. I know wrecking ball is good. All right,
No,
I won't
no.
deny you that.
Yep.
All right, on a map like this though, where there are so many corners and turns, the defense, how are they going to be able to protect Speedy? There's so many questions going into my mind, and while I
these comps, you don't really. If you're Zen will die a lot in these comps, but your goal is to kill them before they can kill your Zen, right?
Okay. You know
And so when you're playing a mirror like this, or close to a mirror, big difference is the Pharah. It's like okay, right? The Ana allows them to survive a bit more than like the Zenyatta does. The Ana has a bit more self-sustainability.
Yeah, but look at that! Natsu immediately melts down Char's wrecking ball. Though they do get the res out, making this more of an even fight than anything, they still have to try and play against this without their Mercy, who Natsu eventually picks up. Celestial have so much room to be able to push in, and the character to be able to take these advantages as Natsu once again gets the third pick within the first few minutes of the game. Did you see PR Celestial just pushing forward, going to be able to start getting ticks on this point? Char want to do as much as they can just to try and stop it, but there's not much you could do. They even forced out the Nano, just trying to be able to touch and get a pick, but look at that, Super B is going to be picked off. Neptune on the Echo can't even touch without fear of being absolutely executed. You know, this isn't World War II. You don't really get to, I don't know what I was going with that, so let's just move on and kind of get the analytical spec. I'm going to stop right there.
Yeah, probably should. Both team answers will be online for Celestial here. They're going to look to kind of possibly snowball the second point. You're going to see support. You're going to see almost all safe build for Celestial, right? Farthest one away is the Diva Bomb, where you're only at 80% to that. Charybdis, not so fortunate. Only that Pulse Bomb currently online, close to that Diva ult as well. But if you're able to just kill the Wrecking Ball randomly, I guess that works.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Though, look at this slam, finding out that wrecking ball, and now putting pressure onto a Ghost. You're going to be able to pick it up before the Transcendence gets used, and that's pretty much a good side coming out of Celestial. Though this Pulse Bomb is the best, it doesn't really find much placing onto the mech. We're seeing the side of PR Celestial kind of just more look for picks and any staggers, especially with Speedy being picked off. This is now in their court. They use the copy. Natsu's going to be able to kind of move in, even build up a bomb, place it down. And if they can get a single pick continuing forward, that means more than anything when it comes to these later fights.
Definitely agree. I wonder if Speedy, like, how Speedy ended up killing himself. I wonder if he got pooped off in the game, just misattributed it, or what's up with that. Mine's used here from Osamu.
Yep, on top of the high ground. That bomb's going out. It's going to be able to help kind of anyone on top of the high ground, but most people are kind of on the bridge. It does seem Septa wants to use this rally, especially with Neptune winning the Echo 1v1. They're going to be able to push forward. Kill switch, not struggling to restack Transcendence fast enough, has to place that bomb solely to just be able to come back. With Wrecking Ball, Neptune returning into the fray as a Ghost is split off, taken out by Super B. The payload still at a kind of midway point. They were able to push it a lot farther than they really expectedly could, and they're continuing to. Chara having to put more resources in stopping the payload to move than win this fight. Now they're at a major disadvantage as the rest of Pure Celestial are starting to respawn, especially Natsu. But look on the bright side, we're going to be seeing Chara kind of end this fight, bring it back into their favor, but that payload is so close to being captured.
Yeah, definitely. Pretty close there to capping up, but Celestial get fended off here. 2 minutes have been burnt off the clock already for Charybdis. As you can see, very aggressive plays here.
Yep, already moving out, stuck inside that small room. Postpone doesn't hit much, but it leaves out for the Brig to be focused down. Now with this dive onto the high ground, they just seem to be having kind of a whack-a-mole type of fight. Whoever pops up first is immediately being squished. And the first one who got popped up was Natsu. Though the Mind's in an interesting spot, manages to find out Super B wasn't truly noticing where they were. The rest of the side of Pure Celestial looking more to just find anyone out of sight. The entirety of Charge just kind of split up, not really focused down to be on together, more or less. They're kind of just all over the place, which I fully respect. Though with this fight continuing in, the mines are being used inside the backside. Anybody who walks into there is absolutely dead. They're not in the best spot. Though a Ghost is going to be picked off due to the Brig. The rally is making sure that Septa can basically play Asher, Reinhardt, your love, and Neptune onto the Sombra more than anything. Going to be able to come close to this EMP as this fight slowly ends off.
Yeah, so Charybdis putting kind of a slower defense here. Celestial not able to break through. They're going to have both DPS ults to work into this next fight, though. As they're going to have every ult essentially other than the mines now that I look at it. So it is definitely a winnable situation for them, but Charybdis, with how they're lurking, I'm not too sure, because they're going to have the EMP, they're going to have the Pulse Bomb, and there it is, the pick already.
Hey, it's very much a benefit, and now they're just continuing to move forward. Though Kill Switch is able to escape, and the rest of PR Celestial are able to build up a good amount of ultimates, the payload is slowly moving back. That's going to be a further issue as we continue on, and the timing goes down to less than a minute.
Yeah, less than a minute on the clock here. And an early EMP hits 3.
Oh, looking nice, moving forward. It seems that, well, the EMP was more than enough to solidify this fight, even forcing Char to go back and stop any form of a C9. They will have to reset and come up with a plan B.
Yeah, I mean, they had 5 minutes, now only 30 seconds for Celestial. Charybdis are playing so aggressive here in a lot of early fights. Drop that EMP, crucially hitting both supports and the D.Va as well, and the Pulse Bomb to finish that off. Still a lot of ults for Celestial.
Yeah, look at this. Celestial wants to use that rally very early.
Oh, he got Nano
comes out. That's absolutely critical. I didn't even notice. I thought Deception just threw it out inside the wild, and then eventually Deception is going to fall due to dishonor. You know, commit seppuku. Not going to be able to live from that. Now stuck inside this small house. They have to touch this point. A Ghost using this Transcendence just to be able to come back. It seems that the mech is going to be eventually broken down on the side of Char, and, well, they're kind of in a mid zone, but the Wrecking Ball gets picked this early? That's not going to be looking good. The whip shot must have been able to prove that Show's trying to tell me out, but I'm going to keep talking over him as Natsu gets antied and eventually picked off. Though the Sombra's going to be able to escape and Speedy's going to be picked off. The rally there is more than enough to sustain. Pulse Bomb landing down in the air, manages to take out the Brigida. And this is where Char finished off with that EMP that Neptune has built lickety split. Just seems that PR Celestial are not going to be able to bring that momentum from the first push to be able to bring it to the third, because they don't even get to capture the second one, and we're going to be seeing them have to try and make a very good hold if they want to continue this series, well, not at a major disadvantage of a 2-0.
Yeah, really good stuff there from Charybdis. I mean, a 5-minute tie bank for Celestial coming into that point. And guess what? Well, Charybdis came with the goods. Held for super long. you saw some really aggressive plays there set up by Osamu, and then some really good anti-nades from Speedy to hold this a kind of close hold. And then Neptune with some big EMPs, and then Super B, of course. Super B and Osamu, they look to have this kind of great coordination, and they managed to work together really nicely to finish off these fights. And Charybdis there, looking really good.
You know, I can't say that you're wrong. I
No,
definitely
'cause
would.
I'm right.
That's true. All right, I just never like to admit that you're right.
I know.
More than anything, I'm more interested to see how they try and really take this defense. I think PR Celestial, they looked a lot better. They got their head in the game and they looked a lot stronger, though, as it went on. They've been weaker, and that's been a repeating issue. I think if they truly want to be able to move into the playoffs. And remember, there's teams like Chip Club who are absolute apes in the scene, all right? You need to have more consistency when it comes to these games, and now I'm wondering to see this Shadow Die versus the Wrecking Ball comp. Who will win the coin flip?
2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Yeah, it's going to be Shadow Dive. It'll be the defensive look. The attack will be the spell comp that Charybdis had a lot of success on. And you're going to see Osamu putting some pressure on the point.
Yeah, it seems the Wrecking Ball is going to be kind of pressured out by Natsu, but they both have to escape. They're more focused on taking out the Zenyatta and Brig, who are stuck inside the backline, and then they immediately get the second tick. But I think they're going to lose the entire point! How? They were just about to touch. They were on point.
Let me talk it, so let me sound smart. So you saw the Wrecking Ball, the Tracer, and the Sombra. They just went out to the point, right? It started with just the Wrecking Ball to try to draw some attention. It drew a decent amount of attention, so you saw the Tracer come back to help. And then they're like, okay, screw this. Let's go kill the 3 members of the team that are split off and easily killable, right? The D.Va, the Brig, and the Zen. But guess what? Yeah, you left for a bit too long. When you have 3 people on that point, it just happens up so quickly, and I guess Spy Shields weren't prepared.
Yep, more than a bit too long. We're already seeing them take this early fight. PR Celestial want to be making a difference. Taking Speedy is going to be able to help. No Discord trying to take you, but losing at your monkey basically means this is going to be a bigger issue, especially those mines stopping you from escaping. The Lucio just barely gets that healer to be able to survive for a bit longer, but they're now all stuck inside the enemy's area. They're in this kind of weird spot to where they feel forced to use that EMP. Hey, I'm not judging. I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. And it seems that what they gotta do is be able to push this further. PR Celestial, though, having an EMP of their own, may be able to kind of have a consistent hold.
Yeah, definitely. As we are... I mean, that's a nice pick on Speedy, but 1 fight away from seeing the end of this map here, and Osamu, if we can get a pick off here pretty early, be quite massive, and he nearly got picked off, but Celestial gonna force Charybdis back there with that pick on the Speedy. It happened quite early, and not a great EMP, though, from Natsu.
I definitely have to agree. Though they are stopping this C9, look at that, even using the Coalescence, they got very scared. They just pop it out saying, no, 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 no.
Now, yeah, 100%. It's coming next fight. I see a lot of ults for Charybdis, almost everything except the EMP, but Celestial has some stuff to work with as well. Everything except an EMP of their own.
Yep, throwing out that bomb as well. It kind of helps. They're pushing this payload. Now Celestial have to touch through. D.Va is really the only person, but with that hack hitting you, you're not going to be able to use your bomb to come back immediately, so you have to try and survive for that time being. If they get off the point for even a second off PR Celestial, they will struggle as Speedy and the D.Va are there. Moira is able to come back, same with not only Cassidy, but Sombra. It's just not enough. They're scrambling together. And once again, we're going to be seeing the enemy side. Joe Razor, please.
Charybdis.
Thank you. Charybdis take the series when it comes to Eigenvault. Already putting themselves once again at a match point. PR Celestial, they definitely need some work if they want to be able to bring this back. And what do you think is happening? I think they were looking good initially, but I don't know how to feel.
Yeah, I will tell you what emotions you should be feeling. It's just, I don't know. I honestly, Charybdis, they just look like they look so much more decisive than Celestial do. Celestial just look like they're second-guessing themselves, or if they're not necessarily second-guessing themselves, that Charybdis just are played super fast, they're played super aggressive, and Celestial just seem not to have an answer.
I definitely have to agree. You know, those feelings you made me understand were there, and I'm already so mentally drained, but still, to think that this is over for PR Celestial, you'd be a fool to think so. All right, in my heart, in my chest, I still fully believe in them. But do you? You'll have to see if they manage to bring it back or will lose the next map after this quick break.
They did find Cucumber, but he's going to lift him.
Oh, Vulcan gets caught right into that, and Speed is going to be
Oh,
able to follow
no.
up. Talk
You
about
let
jumping
him
over to the
do.
Doofus, talking about playing into the
A
Doofus.
manos de la bola. Ya son 3 las picks que conseguía el equipo de British Hurricane.
We need your help to decide our opinion outpost MVP of the match.
He's got a minute to kind of work some sort of pick against this Doc, and oh my good lord, they just got eviscerated.
See?
Oh!
He's not dead! Hey, now he's dead!
Holy cow, I've never seen someone get so aggressive.
Oh, catches their opponent outside of the building, and that is it.
It's Rocket League Wednesday on the High School Esports League home room. I am, as the kids say, vibing right now.
This is just fumes for them. Wow, Pharaoh rips shot after shot after shot of the back of them. Good wall towards site, but it's already been broken, so they can't even get that spike down trustedly. Camera over towards site, and again, it's getting all that information. Hebot going absolutely massive.
Here in this map number 4 season, up on championship point, being up 2-1. Nifty dropped down to 19 HP. Joker with his M13 in hand is just trying to hold the angles.
My mind is a minefield. Watch your step.
Healing that was coming out from them. And then the Ana goes down after that, and it was just quick cleanup. Resignations and Witty really clutching out in the DPS department for SM, and they've got first capture crossing 15%. Ultimate's coming up online already. You're going to have Deadeye, and look, we've got Grab Dragons available for that test.
Oh, and they're gonna waste no time in committing it. The Graviton comes out. But it's not gonna get any.
Oh, excited. Thank you so much, Sidebjorn. Living up to the beautiful strats from Warrior Esports. They're gonna go ahead and teleport directly on the point, so they will be meeting them tantamount.
Nothing to try and eat it with, nothing to stave it off, no support ultimates. They've got a shatter. It might just have to be put in to keep the Bastion ult, but they don't care about this Bastion ult. They've got a Batiste!
Oh man, this is just nutty right now.
This is not something that you want to push in on, but it's going to be the bomb and the charge into Mansion picks at 3! All of the 3 that you want, the Reinhardt, both of the supports, and this is the fight done already. Frost Dragon
comes.
It does pull out the Transcendence, but the anti-nade gets...
And here comes back on the Doomfist, not hacked up by the EMP critically. Starjummer has the Deadeye, no pass this time around. Starjummer gonna clean up the fight, get 3, get the electric cowboy for dancing effect.
This might be the best map for that in all of Overwatch as we see the whole shot and the
Bane with the silk thread shot going on.
Isn't gonna work really well against the Ghost Confar as fine yes, or you're not gonna get through this.
I love watching teams that I haven't seen play before play. It's always thrilling.
Round 1.
It really is. It's wild cards. It's something you don't get to see at the higher levels. Everybody's at least been seen usually at lower level matches. So this is always a fun experience.
Bring this back.
Overwatch.
I just needed a quick moment of silence, everybody. We are here in a very incredible game right now.
Very, very incredible.
Yes. And by incredible, I mean quick. And by quick, I mean flash speed. Because we're already at the halfway point, 2-0. PR Celestial struggling to finally make a difference. And just to get it out of the way, our next map is going to be one that kind of me and Joe disagree on where we think this is going to be going out on. But it is going to be Junkertown, which
Junkertown
I have mixed feelings on. I don't know if this is the greatest map to really play on, especially being down 2-0, because it is really hard to get it to that third point. I don't think we often see both teams get it to the third point.
Yeah. Definitely. Caribus just looks so good. Like they're very decisive. They seem to know what they want to do in every situation, but on the other side, PR Celestial, they seem like they're second guessing themselves a lot of the times, and I don't know if that's gonna work very well for our next map in the set. It's gonna be Junkertown, everybody's favorite map.
Yeah, it's very much mixed feelings, because as much as I understand that the Wrecking Ball composition works, it doesn't really do well on second point, and there's a lot of issues going on when it comes to, I just want to be able to see them kind of shine and go out, but there's a lot of fundamentals that they're kind of breaking down on, and it's truly showing at this point.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel pretty worried if I'm the side of Celestial, because like you said, it's not the greatest map to play if you're kind of not sure what you want to do, because it's a very wacky and bonkers map. A lot of stuff happens on Junkertown. It never makes any sense what happens on Junkertown. But yeah, I am definitely just see what each team thinks is their best bet. I would imagine we see a lot of ball comps and Orisa mainly.
I definitely agree. Orisa very much works in these types of strategies too. They look good, and that's only because you're being able to play as a team. You're being able to stay in one spot. Wrecking Ball can kind of be a little more breaky.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I know.
I think you're just nodding your head because I don't make any sense. Don't you go quiet on me, Joe. Look at him, chat. He's just staring at me. He's gone mad. Either way, I do think Junkertown at least built up to Pierre Celestial, possibly building back some momentum. If, and I mean if, they're being able to push it back first point, second point, and maybe a third point if the enemy team are feeling generous enough, I definitely think this is one of those maps where you bring it back. Escort is all about pushing it forward. It's all about momentum. If you're not pulling in kind of with that energy, then you lose the opportunity to have a time bank. You lose the opportunity to be able to push it as far as you naturally can, and that means a lot. So I think if they are able to win this, then moving on to 2CP, well, they'll have a lot more confidence.
Yeah, if they're able to take this map, Celestial, I feel pretty good about them in the rest of the set, but I think this map is going to be such a pain to be able to win. I think it favors what we've seen Charybdis want to run, and so if we do see a win here from Celestial, I will be surprised.
Hey, I wouldn't be. Celestial, by far, I love you guys. All right, hit me up on that Twitter. DMs are open. They've got potential, and I see it in them. Okay.
Sure.
Joe, Joe, I may not be able to see your face, but I know the face that you're making. Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm more interested to see what they run out on. Already getting set up. Both of these teams running out on what we're not too surprised on, the Wrecking Ball composition. But how do you feel possibly not even going to be running that Double Sniper?
I don't think Double Sniper is a thing you have to run. They're going to run on the defense, so that's what Charybdis are going to go for. It's going to be a Sig and a Ball for them. The Brig Zen and Double Sniper. The attacks are going to currently on a very similar comp, only difference is their second DPS. Currently on the Tracer.
I like the Tracer. I think you can get a lot of room with it, especially if Neptune can't shut you down. So, you know, it can work both ways, but either way, Mr. Joe Razor, we're going to have to see how this turns out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Already pushing forward, we do see Super B kind of more anticipating the enemy sniper deception. The deception seems to be having their own issues, full toes being missed, but the Brig being shot out. Both sides are being seen, so it is more kind of a slow ensemble trying to figure out who to go after, but it seems that OZ wants to be able to focus out the Widow, but then gets hit with that Discord Orb and so much damage on both sides. It seems that whoever's going to get the first Widow kill is going to make the momentum switch to their side as Deception goes down. As Superbee finds out OZ due to the slam inside the air. It looks like they aren't going to be able to do much because the Widow is able to look down on your sight and just prepare for a headshot. And sure, Natsu's able to get the Wrecking Ball, but Wrecking Ball comes back really quick, so I don't think it's much of a worry. Go.
Yeah, for sure. This is looking pretty good defense so far. Card's continuing to move to Pulse Bomb. It's the Sigma Shield.
Oh, just barely, and it, manages to save their life. And as this fight reconvenes, Superbee's looking out for the Widowmaker is very scared, but the rest of the team are making sure to focus on everyone who's going inside the flight. Sure, the Sigma and Wrecking Ball are pushing the payload, but with that slam headshot, Superbee is making sure these play highlights look absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely, as Charybdis looking pretty good here. Attempting to pull off the Alama. They're going to have bottles to work with here. Essentially, close to everything here. But the attack, not so fortunate. Flux and Transcendence, all they really have.
Hey, Transcendence and Flux are very much two good ultimates to try and play against. It's rather how the enemies react to it. They use the Rally and Transcendence the moment that Gravitic Flux pops out, and the Dragons get forced onto the high ground, meaning that they're in a very uncomfortable position to be able to pump that damage. Though the Mine's going inside the back line, Deception is still set up, looking for that flank Hysteria. Using that Transcendence, really is not going to be able to heal anyone up, and it seems that Neptune's going to be taking that Widow 1v1 and losing because you're not a Widowmaker, you're a Hanzo, and what are you going to do? Deception's just going to go inside your backline, take out Speedy, and now it's going to take longer. This is kind of a really good opportunity for them to start pushing back and start, you know, playing aggressive, especially with Deception's using sights, meaning they have the advantage on every sight line.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I'm gonna serve. Here's the stick to somebody. It's gonna be Setis. So Setis the one that will get taken down there. Really nice stick. Tracer in the back here has the Discord on it. They need to try to force him out. Look how much space he's by, but a great shot from Neptune. With the Sonic Arrow,
Bob and Weed does
just
not
to
help
show
you
off.
out. It does seem that Deception is going to be the one taking out Super B, giving them more room to be able to push forward. With Mines on the point, Char is not going to be able to move forward. They're more struggling to be able to consistently stay onto the point and focus out the Widow than anything. And already, Joe, it's just as I told you. They're going to be able to capture the first point with around 3 minutes or such. So moving on to the second one is where the Wrecking Ball composition is very much a kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a little bit. It's gonna be a couple ults for the defense, or actually really only one in the mines. The attack doesn't have anything, but they do end up getting the opening pick.
I definitely think it's an opportunity for them to be able to work, and they are being able to pump in
There's
some
the
damage
trade.
into Deception. Not even going to be able to do much. As we see Super B eventually getting taken out, it's pretty rude if you ask me. You know, they just want to be able to survive. Though Pierre Celestial, their support line are being focused on as the mines gets placed down, meaning they're going to have a lot longer of an issue of pushing that payload than Char really does at stopping them from pushing it.
Yeah, I mean, this is very strange. The player advantage is currently in favor of Celestial. Actually, not anymore due to response, but there was for a bit, but the car was just never moving, as Cryptis are going to continue to win out these fights. Continuing to force them out.
Look at that. Osamu is just focusing more on building up an ult charge than really worrying. If they die, as they do, it doesn't matter as much because Deception is gone. And I don't think you want to take a 5v5 because you're without your Wrecking Ball. They don't really care if they don't have their, you know, Hanzo or something, because that means they could just come back.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of ults for Cryptis to work with. A lot of ults for Celestial. Pretty even fight when it comes to ult economy.
Yep, it seems that the Dragons forces
we got
them to
bashed out of it.
Use the Gravitic, use the Transcendence, and the Gravitic Flux gets cancelled out. Now, Masarar, or whatever Japanese name you're truly using, is walking out. They save the Gravitic Flux for the rally, popping up in the air. Cancels out, slams down, and really the Zenyatta is stuck inside this small room, dangerously low, though they're just barely able to make it out and trade by getting out that Sigma. The rest of the side of Char are taking an insane amount of damage as the mines are placed onto the point, meaning they move with it. The Wrecking Ball wanting to do as much as they can to make some space, but it seems that Neptune's the one who's going to be giving them that opening onto the Brigida. With kill switch so dangerously low, they can play however way they want. Though Neptune, dangerously low, eventually gets finished. Super B is looking to kind of take out the Zenyatta, gets it. Septa is moving in. And they just barely bring that back off of the first initial pick and the rally. They had no fear to just kind of take it back.
Yeah, Celestial continuously pushed out. Cryptis really doing a great job so far on their defense. Last fight here. Not a lot of ults for either sides. You're going to have the Visor pretty early on, and then the Transcendence for speed will be soon to follow. But those are really the only two ults for either team.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Look at this, 10 seconds left onto the clock. They're going to have to do as much as they can. With that Mega Health Pack hack, it's not really going to be too much of an effect, but Deception has the Visor. That's a big opening. It can take them all out if you use it correctly, but it's a matter of how you take this fight. They lose out their Sigma. Now using the Visor, Super B's not going to be able to live, focusing more onto the Wrecking Ball, but then eventually onto the Brigida. They're going to get that pick out. Transcendence may be used, but it's not really in a good hope. The Sombra is the last person there, besides from the Wrecking Ball, but the Rock manages to throw directly at their face, meaning Pierre Celestial, they're going to keep moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. Great job from Celestial to work back into this. They'll have a little over a minute on the clock. Cryptis not looking too good here late. They get a pulse bomb stick though and kill, so They will probably hold pretty early here. They get a lot of kills just kind of out of nowhere.
They just pushing forward. They're not truly scared to kind of take those early fights, waste on their time bank, which I think is truly the point of this. And now Pierre Celestial possibly have either one truly long fight or two very short ones.
Yeah, definitely.
But look at this, as they reconvene back onto the fight, it does seem the mines are used inside the enemy's own spawn. Osamu just barely able to kind of escape, but then Super B's taking this Tracer 1v1. They're getting hit a lot, and it seems that Natsu's going to be able to win it. Though that EMP is absolutely massive, Super Flux is not there used to kind of follow up on it as the rest of the team are picked out. They're now trying to just escape, survive, maybe be able to have those respawns. But they're being hit with so much damage that I'm more impressed that they don't end up getting picked.
Yeah, Celestial looking pretty desperate here. Super B takes down one, takes down two.
Super B activated, truly looking to make these plays. Though that Gravitic Flux is high in the sky, the hack is there to cancel it out. The Transcendence, though, combined with the rally, is going to help that sustain through with the visor. Would you see Mas trying to be able to use their own Gravitic Flux, but being so dangerously low, they're going to have to try and wing it. Because Zenyatta being able to pump in that damage onto Osamu and Pierre Celestial, moving it forward. Seth does use this rally, which helps to build up that armor onto Sweetie. But it's just not enough, as they are continuously being stuck inside of this small room. They need to be able to touch this point, as we see Super B be able to do with the mines being inside the back. The Transcendence now touching onto the point, and they have to make this last stand. Super B able to find out the Wrecking Ball, Speedy Deception, set the pick, so they lost this brig, but the hack goes on to Alborn, and the EMP comes, which hopefully solidifies this fight as they boot them off the point and make sure that they can't capture three. However, this is both farther than our expectations were. Pierre Celestial looking much better.
Yeah, but still, they get held outside of third, outside of the final kind of end, final capture here. 100 meters into third point, but it's Charybdis's turn. If they can get 100.14 meters, they'll win the set. If not, well, Celestial will stay alive for another map.
Oh, man. Still, Chara have been able to show themselves when in any type of scary situation or
Chara?
a possible... Chara, yes. Kara. Alright, you never played Undertale?
Charybdis?
Listen, you're being mean to me. Alright, I don't respect that. Either way, they have shown that even in a situation where it's more unclear, unknown, and very scary, they've been able to bring it back. They're very focused and calm, and I think this may help them be able to push it. Especially if we bring something back up like Ike Vault or the first Control. They really had no issue with having kind of a win goal set.
Yeah, you're entirely right there. Hopping into this map though. Countdown. It's gonna be a fairly similar comp. Only difference is a Tracer for Celestial and a Sombra for Charybdis.
It's gonna be an interesting take. We already see Super B set up and shot down. That's a little rude coming out of Deception to just kind of make that Widow difference there, but hey, it's one that you really want to set up, especially with your team kind of focusing down Osamu, though it gives up Neptune's own positioning. Deception eventually is gonna be picked up, which is a little bit unfortunate with the respawns for the side of Chars. They're going to be able to come back much faster. Kill switch now the front line of defense as Osamu goes down, was inside their own back line. Going to be able to defend there and stop anyone from pushing forward. On the enemy side, want to be able to kind of play around, maybe focus out the Zen. It seems that OZ is going to take too much damage, and really Super B takes out Natsu, who's there to be able to follow up on those kind of picks and get a nasty headshot onto Deception.
Yeah, and okay. Super B kills 2. Charybdis marching forward here.
They're going to be able to feel perfectly fine. Though the Wrecking Ball is the one putting the pressure back onto the support line and onto the Widowmaker, the rest of Pierre Celestial don't have any room to move out onto the point. Their lack of confidence truly showed, as we already see Deception looking to take those angles and try to slow this down, but Speedy uses that Transcendence. Deception gets hacked, not going to be able to take out Neptune, and the rest of the side of here, Celestial, fighting onto this point, have to do as much as they can, but it's more of an issue against this EMP. Though the rally was out of its range, perfect to be able to help, and the mine stopping kind of the gravitic flux to be used as it gets canceled out. A little bit unfortunate, and well, they're going to be able to move forward. Though Pierre Celestial used a lot there.
Yeah, they really did. Quite a lot of ults, or, like, yeah, ults committed for Celestial, and not able to win it. I only have the mines left from that engage, and Cryptospell, they have a Flux and a Rally as well, and building in ever so closer to the Transcendence.
Oh, don't worry about that. Something fell inside my background, but it does seem Pierre Celestial at least have some form of a setup with these mines. They do, we see on the static chart using that rally, but the mines now splitting them up, going to be able to take out that Sigma. And eventually the Zenyatta is going to follow close. They're not going to be able to push any farther as that payload kind of hits the bottom peak of the choke, and they're going to have to reset and come up with a plan B.
Yeah, I said they only had the mines. And guess what? The mines were what won them the fight. Double kill off the back foot, big place by Oz. Here. Yeah,
Mines are
in the back.
Yeah, mines are a really good ability, but it seems that's not really what they're more focusing on. They want to be able to build up the support ult more than anything, these DPS ults, as we see Natsu place out that pulse bomb and Deception coming very close up to the visor. Chara more struggling to be able to find anyone, as the high ground control is absolutely phenomenal. Being able to use that gravitic flux to slam down onto Killswitch and pump in that damage. Though Killswitch is going to be able to come back and pump 2 times more, taking out their counterpart and basically just living breezy.
Yeah, definitely. In this ball room, you're going to see this Wrecking Ball trying to get out, not able to do so there, so ends up going down. They will trade Wrecking Balls late. As Cryptus need to find a way to get back into the second point. As they have some ults to do so. It's going to be the CMP. You're going to look to get a good one here. Want to try to hit the supports as you're really close to the rally and the Transcendence.
Hey, it's a lot of opportunities to be able to use these abilities, though Neptune's EMP is what they're more relying on than anything. That could be a hindrance in the future, but that's not what we're focusing on, as it helps not only take out the Brigida, but eventually Hysteria. Sigma just barely able to kill switch to survive, but really with the rest of the team gone, you might as well die. You're not going to be able to solo carry this, as eventually your Tracer has to use that recall just to barely escape, and Killswitch is at 1 HP, focused down and taken out. Now, Pierre Celestial, they have to do as much as they can to try and stop this 3-minute push.
3 minutes here to capture up, to essentially just capture up all of third point. Celestial gonna have a lot of ults to start off though. Everything except this minefield. On the opposition though, we're gonna have 3 ults, both support ults, and this minefield.
Yep. Using these rallies as counterplays, kind of equaling the fight. The Gravitic Flux comes out from Killswitch. Going to be able to land down, but the Transcendence coming out of Speedy is going to be more than enough to make them feel pretty A-okay, if you ask me. Now with these split sides, OG's not going to be able to escape. Same with Natsu, getting hit with that headshot from Speedy is going to feel pretty fine. And now the rest of Pierre Celestial are in this kind of awkward sight line. Though they do use the visor, being able to walk onto Speedy and Neptune. Deception getting so much peel in the world that I wonder where are these players in my comp games. Eventually going to be able to also take out the rest of the side of Char. Pushing that payload to halfway point, that's pretty good, but what's better is being able to stop them there.
Yeah, these players, these players until they're like in like GM, that's where they are.
Oh.
That's why they're on your comp games.
Why you gotta hurt my feeling like that?
I'm not hurting your feelings. There's like 1% of every Overwatch player ever. Like less than 1% has hit GM. Not a personal attack though.
Listen, I'm bad, I'm a plat, and I'm looking at Natsu versus Super, kind of in a weird sentiment. Though Natsu does come up, places down that pulse bomb, it misses, but it splits them up for a tiny bit, so hey, it's not the worst thing in the world. Speedy does find the fake, and they walk up with the Gravitic Flux and the EMP, but the Transcendence did not get hit by that, meaning Hysteria is being able to peel in the team and save them. A beautiful and excellent use of their own abilities. This payload is slowly going to move into kind of this last fight territory situation, especially with this hack and kill onto Deception. A little bit more unfortunate. Super B being able to get that pulse bomb out. Speedy kills out kill switch, and now nobody on the side of Pierre Celestial are being able to have room to survive. If OZ gets taken out, they don't even have an ultimate to be able to use to try to stop this as they come back. But being able to freely escape and now taking that rotation, they don't even get time for that mega health back because they get hacked. And, well, it got stolen. Now, this is one big messy fight as Pierre Celestial have to be doing the much as they can, coming out with the Forbidden Slugs, built incredibly fast. Speedy has this transcendence if they choose to use it to be able to save the stake, but they feel fine only using it afterwards. Though against the Rally and Visor, it is pretty much an even trade, being able to focus down onto Nazi, placing the mines onto the point from OZ. They are going to be making this more into their kind of advantage side of the fight, especially with a minute left. This is not looking good for the side of Charge. They are struggling to find some picks consistently, though the EMP
Good
was
EMP.
more than enough of what they
That's it.
needed. Just getting that massive hack, shutting down any mines that were there, and the rest of the side. It seems that this is just not Pierre Celestial's day. They're not going to be able to move forward within the brackets, falling a little bit down. I guess Char is going to be moving forward, and my big fear is they have to fight out Chimp Club, those crazy players.
Yeah, this will be Charybdis taking the set. 3-0 here, really dominant performance from them. Moving forward to either play Phoenix Rebirth or Twilight Foxes. Not sure who they will be playing quite yet. For your information, Intel, if they ever beat it, the first place they would be able to meet Chimp Club would be in the winners finals. So, because they were on opposite sides of the bracket.
See, that's good. That's good. Chimp Club are absolutely insane sometimes, but then again, they are the dumbest people I've ever met. Either way, we meet ourselves at the end, and I've got to say, at least for Pierre Celestial, at least they have a moment to breathe. They've taken this loss. Maybe they can now sit down and say, what do we need to do to be better?
I don't know. They need to be more decisive, I think, is a big thing. They seem, in a lot of these situations, Celestial, they will get into decent spots. I've been harping on this the whole series. They'll be in a good spot, and then they wait too long. Charybdis will make the opening move. They will have something to counter Celestial's plan, but yeah,
I think there's a lot of things that they're going to want to have to kind of look over, focus on. I'm definitely wanting to see more come out, though I would have to say Neptune absolutely was an amazing player continuously throughout this match. If I wasn't going to give it to Neptune solely because of those EMPs, I would give it to Speedy.
Yeah, I think Neptune or Speedy, and I think my like MVP of this match, it would either be Neptune or Speedy, and I think third would be Osamu probably. He played really well.
I definitely would have to agree, but I'm also interested to see what chat thinks. It's very much kind of give your love to the teams and maybe some advice or anything, but all in the respectfuls. Unfortunately, though, this is the end for NA as we reach the darkness of the night. My good friend Joe Racer, do you have any lasting comments?
Follow me and Intel on Twitter. We have Twitters. You can follow us.
That's true. On my Twitter, I post nothing sometimes. I do post pictures of my dog. I plan to.
I post random esports and normal sports.
Yeah, but
comments randomly.
I think the true place you should be looking at is the Elo Hell Twitter. Make sure you follow there because you'll be able to follow up on updates. They have very funny.
Company, man.
Yeah, they have hey man, listen, they've got really funny content that's been pumping out. Even the YouTube's been somewhat very much reborn and active, so I definitely think you should be checking these out if you're interested. More than anything, you can hit that heart, it's a follow, you can hit that bell, that means you'll be able to get notifications. You can join the Discord, stay up to date, and join the community. It's very friendly, I promise, and we love all of you. So either way, I want to thank you so much for joining us when it comes to Get Good or GGNA, and we'll see you next time when it comes to Get Good.